Good afternoon! Hey, happy Monday, everybody. Danny and Dusty with you. Hope everybody's having a great day. Why'd you boo? Who'd you boo?
I booed Mondays.
Who did you boo right there?
Mondays.
Jeff Russ here. Hi, Jeff.
What it do, baby?
Oh, that's aggressive right there. That's aggressive right there.
We'll Skip Bayless for you.
That was Skip Bayless?
That was Skip Bayless.
Play that again.
What it do, baby?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, no, now that you say that, yeah, I can find it.
I hear it now.
Yeah.
I hear it now, and I can't unhear it. Jeff Russ here. You guys have good weekends?
I did.
Yeah. I did a whole lot of nothing.
Oh, that's great.
I slept like half of yesterday. Just
I got
laid around.
a
And
crap ton done.
Oh, I didn't get anything really done.
I did mow the lawn for the first time this season.
Well, look at you.
So I guess I did a little something.
Look at you.
I'm holding off
Ah,
on the lawn mowing.
That's why you need to get turf. Don't have to.
Yeah, I'd love to move into a house that has turf already installed.
Don't have to. It's great. It's great. You
Highly would recommend. Very
can
nice.
Send the kids out weather like this. You can just send the kids out and they don't
Get
track
muddy.
mud all over. You just kick off the shoes and they come back in. I mean, granted, our backyard is like a postage stamp, but they can just run their laps, get their little workout in, and come back inside.
That's the one downside. Like when we were house hunting, it was like I wanted a house with like a quarter acre. It's a lot of grass.
It is.
It's a lot of grass.
It is. Our first house was we bought it was a fixer upper. But it was on a third of an acre, and it was right off. It was right next to Nike.
Okay.
So it was a great area, and so we were like, perfect. I loved mowing that lawn at the beginning and taking care of the grass, and I took great pride in it. And then when we sold it, I was like, yeah, I'm feeling a lot better about this right now. That saves me like a day's worth of like 24 hours probably mowing that damn lawn and keeping it up over the course of the year.
My parents have acres, and he has a riding lawnmower. It is a 5-hour mow with a riding lawnmower.
That's crazy.
And I'm just like, nah, I'm good, man.
Nah.
I'm good.
Yeah, that's too much of a time investment.
Yeah.
Sure is, Bob.
That's when I got him into podcasts a couple of years ago, finally. And it's where he listens to his podcast. And
Oh,
he can
good.
listen through like entire seasons.
And
when he mows.
I mean, as long as he's not mowing any families of cats, I think we're good.
Not this time.
That's a circle back. That's a
Yeah,
deep cut.
that's a deep
We're going deep in the back.
Cut.
It wasn't him. It was the kid. It was the neighborhood kid. But he had
Never gonna, that kid is he's living a condo life. He doesn't want to be near grass ever again.
My dad had to dispose of it, though.
Yeah, no, that's brutal. If you missed that conversation, you can find it in the audio vault. Just go back and listen to the last year and a half worth of shows, and you can find it in there somewhere.
It's in there somewhere.
It's in there somewhere.
All right.
But my family completely and totally destroyed a young kid's future.
That's right. And his burgeoning business of being a lawn maintenance man is now gone.
Yeah, now he's the veterinarian.
All right, I went to the Timbers game. Went to the Timbers home opener.
You know, I'm jealous of you.
It was,
I'm jealous.
yeah.
Still haven't been.
I was a late. Oh, you've never been to a Timbers match?
I worked 100 yards away for 5 years, and I did not go.
They are so fun.
And
it was great.
Between the three of us, I'm the biggest soccer fan.
Yeah, you are. Timbers matches are always a great time.
Yeah.
And home opener was great. I mean, it was, first of all, Anthony, the new guy. That dude is fast as hell. He is so skilled. He is so fun to watch.
Turns out having highly skilled players, super fun to watch.
That was great. The whole environment, atmosphere was great. My neighbor, Boring Gary, he called me and he was like, hey, you want to go to the match tonight? Not game.
There you go.
Want to go to the match tonight? Yeah, let's go. So we went down. And I had probably, we all have those moments in our lives that it seared in our brain where you're just like, oh, I'm never going to forget this moment. And you're just going to be continually embarrassed. I am still mortified. And we are approaching almost 48 hours later.
Sure.
We go down, we sit in our seats, and I'm on, it was my second beer, so it's halftime-ish.
Sure.
And I go and I take a sip. It went down wrong pipe. I don't know what happened. This is literally Never happened to me in my life.
You forgot how to drink beer.
It just like goes halfway down, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, I try to cover my mouth. Nope. It was like spit take that you see in movies all over the guy in front of me.
Did you immediately point to the guy next to you?
No.
Start a fight?
No. I don't know
not
what
me, him.
happened. It has never happened to me, but it happened in the worst possible moment. And the guy just turns around, he looks at me, I'm like, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I mean, it was like full on like, and it went like my arm was in front of my face because it felt like I was like gonna sneeze, and I was just ready for this thing, like this sip of beer to go just all over my arm, right? And I was gonna just be like, whatever. Nope. It went over, under, it hit everything but my arm. And it went on this dude who, thankfully, he had his hood up. But
he knew the idiot behind him couldn't drink.
I have never been more embarrassed in my entire life. Like, I must have apologized to this guy like 6 times. I was just like, oh, and that's one that will sit with me forever. Like, I will never forget that moment.
Did you get a straw after that?
Oh my! I didn't know. It was bad, guys. It was really
did you
bad.
offer to buy him a beer?
No, he wasn't drinking. Worst part. He wasn't even drinking.
Oh no. I didn't have something like that where I got it on somebody and it wasn't a beer. This might be worse in a sense. I was at a stoplight and I had a dip in, and somebody looked over at me. Windows were down, and I had to sneeze, and I sneezed my dip all over my windshield.
At least it was your windshield.
Yeah.
It wasn't another human being directly in front of you, and I'm just like, oh man.
I looked over at them and I did the sneeze face, like, and then I just snapped my head back into my car. But I had a splattering of chew all over the inside of my windshield.
Man,
that was bad. But yeah, I didn't do it on somebody. I'm not disgusting like you.
Yeah, that one's gonna stick with me. And they were great seats, so it was like I wasn't in like the Timbers Army where like that's kind of like maybe expected, like that'll happen. Nope, that doesn't happen. Guys, it's up there. Mortified, absolutely mortified.
That guy went and told his whole church group about it the next day.
Dude, that guy, he was like, at the end of the game, I'm like, man, I'm so sorry. He's like, that was wild. That was wild. I was like, damn. So that was my Timbers match experience. Other than that, the game was great. Besides
4-1,
something,
right? 4-0?
No,
4-1.
4-1. And it was an onslaught early. Colorado not good at. They need to rethink the soccer thing. Yeah, they just weren't good.
I know a couple of the photogs, and they said that the Timbers Army was pretty relentless. Maybe crossing some lines.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
couldn't hear him.
I heard from one of them that they told a player with dreadlocks to go wash his hair.
Oh,
and I was like,
whoa,
guys, maybe let's not do that.
Whoa,
yeah,
that's not.
Yeah.
And that's surprising because of all of the stands that the Timbers Army has taken against how the organization has been, mainly towards women.
Yeah.
But that is, oh boy.
Yeah, crossing some lines.
No, that's one that you're crossing, and
Yeah.
I don't know if you're going to come back from.
No.
Wow. Yeah, that's aggressive.
Yeah.
Didn't hear that.
So I was like, good to see soccer hooliganism has found its roots in Portland.
I mean, if I was sitting closer to Timbers Army, maybe he would have been talking to the guy that I spit beer all over, but I wasn't near that portion
Wash
of the
your
stadium.
hood, you dirty boy.
Yeah, that sucks.
I still am weirded out by them playing on turf.
We just because you do want grass.
Yeah, I mean, like Messi refused basically to play here.
Yeah, a lot of players won't.
So
they're figuring the turf situation out. They're going. Did you see the Minnesota Vikings? They had
the blended one, right?
They're installing a new field turf that I think they're going more cork instead of rubber into the ground
granules.
up, the granules there, so you don't get as much catching. because I mean that's
the issue.
the turf is very catchy, and so that's where you get all the ACLs and whatnots. But there's just a lot of places in the country that you just can't that place would be a mud pit. It would be a mud pit.
Well, I mean, yes and no.
But I guess Europeans are used to it.
England is the same weather as us, essentially, for more or less.
Yeah.
And they keep pristine pitches.
Yeah, they do.
So.
Yeah, they do. They could figure it out.
But, I mean, it is what it is.
Oh, man.
You make the investment.
Yeah. All right. Well,
hey, talking timbers.
If you do anything today, don't spit your food on any strangers.
No, avoid that.
And if you are the gentleman that I spit my beer on, yeah, hit me up. And if you do drink, I'll buy you a beer.
There you go.
I'll buy you all the beer.
I mean, at least you didn't do it to Terry Stotts.
I think it would have been more palatable if it would have been to Terry Stotts.
Terry would have thrown his beer on you.
Yeah, see? It probably would have deserved that at that point. And I would have been okay with it. I was bracing for that. I was actually anticipating that happening to myself. But nope.
He'd ask you if it was stuck in your craw.
Yeah, 100%.
Stuck in my craw?
All right, we've got a radio program for you today.
We got lots of stuff.
We do.
Turns out Monday's good for that.
We got some fun with audio. We've got overreactions.
We've got whatever the hell the Blazers were this weekend.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah. Speaking of Blazers,
Brooke Olsendam will join us.
Hey!
She's going to join us in studio today. It is February, as February is winding down. Brooke Hearts Your Heart campaign is well underway with the Portland Trail Blazers. Brooke going to come in studio, and I just sent her a text. I was like, she's like, what time? I was like, well, whenever. Just whenever. And so Brooke is going to come down, and she's just going to hang in studio with us. So get your Blazers questions ready for Brooke. I do need to talk to her. I have a pressing question involving her beloved Washington State Cougars that I think she needs an answer for. So Brooke will join us back end of the show, and it'll be a great time having her in studio. But yeah, let's talk about the Blazers because they shot the lights out, not in the way that we know it. Danny Dusty on the Fan. banner weekend for the Portland Trailblazers, a hometown team dropping 2 games, 127-112 to the Denver Nuggets, which is anticipated and respectable loss to one of the better teams in the NBA, the defending world champions.
Sure, Jokic was a man possessed.
He's doing incredible things yet again. And then last night, though, different story, as the Blazers lose 93-80 to the Charlotte Hornets after scoring 34 points in the first quarter.
To be clear, the
34.
highest scoring quarter for either team in the game was 25. The Blazers in the third quarter.
I think you meant 34 points in the first half.
First half.
Yeah,
Did I say first quarter?
You said first quarter.
I meant half. Yeah.
The
First half.
The Blazers did not eclipse 20 in either of the first 2 quarters. 18 and 16.
Last night was unequivocally one of the worst shooting performances that I've seen from this franchise. And it turns out the numbers are bearing it out, because in NBA history, it was the 5th lowest shooting percentage from 3 by a team that attempted 30 or more 3-point attempts.
Mm-hmm.
They were 3 of 32.
And that was only because they were saved in the final couple minutes. They were, at one point in time, 1 for 26.
9.4% 3-point shooting is the 5th worst ever. Mm-hmm. It is the worst 3-point shooting performance with 30 or more attempts since the 2021 Houston Rockets.
Mm-hmm.
It was ugly.
They, at one point in time, missed 23 consecutive threes. And this is not the Hornets were really getting after it. It was Anthony Simons, Jeremy Grant, and everyone else getting wide open look after wide open look and just clanking their brains out.
The starting lineup combined to go 1 of 21 from beyond the arc, including an 0 for 8 from Anthony Simons, which it was tough watching he and Jeremy Grant, especially even Jeremy Grant, that one make. Watching those two guys and seeing how with every attempt that either rattled out or missed horribly, just seeing it kind of wear on them, because that is something we don't see very often.
No.
But it was apparent last night, and that was a tough one. There haven't been many truly, like, you just go, God, that was tough to watch. Last night was one.
We were sitting there, the collective media, we're sitting there post game before Chauncey got up, and I asked around kind of the room, was this worse than the 62-point game to the Oklahoma City Thunder? And there was real pause, because that was just getting your butt kicked. That was
that offensive output that you saw last night against a very good team. I mean, I think if Charlotte is better, and then it ends up that way.
The insane thing was, and I think what made it look worse, was the stark contrast between how putrid they were offensively and how genuinely good they were defensively. Matisse Thybulle was a complete wrecking crew. He had 4 steals and 2 blocks in his first 12 minutes on the floor.
That's pretty good.
And it was just like, okay, defensively they're competing, they're getting after this. But then you watched it offensively, and you're just they're going, and it wasn't clunky. They were generating looks. They were just, and it wasn't just threes. Like, Jabari Walker was bricking layups.
Yeah, it was just a weird, clunky game, start to finish, and you sit there and you go, all right, how does that happen game 2 out of the break?
Mm-hmm.
Like, where does that come from? Where does that start? And how do you get to that point? Because, look, and here's the thing, they were open looks. We look at the Oklahoma City game, and you go, that was in the back end of an extended road trip. They're on the road. Their legs are tired. There is not an excuse to, like, where your legs should be dead on game 2 out of the All-Star break, where you had a night off and you're playing both the games at home, for goodness sakes.
You'd think, but you get to these, you get to these points where it's absolutely, it's not even unquestionable. It's the basketball gods just say no. And I've seen some people like, well, why didn't Chauncey Billups make some changes last night? And I'm just like, huh? Did you look at the box score? Did you see how many guys played? Did you see how many guys took shots? It was just a contagious thing throughout the team. And it doesn't happen frequently. But you go look through the box scores of every team, the best teams in the league and the worst, they all have one of these nights.
But when your roster isn't very good,
it gets exacerbated.
It's exacerbated. And like anybody that's saying you want changes, I mean, what, you want more Mania minutes?
Yeah, like what
you want more
what do you want?
I did, because it wasn't going to get better. It wasn't going to get better. It was just ugly.
You take out Ayton's 11 for 16 from the field, and the Blazers shoot under 28% for the game.
That's brutal.
That's brutal.
And this is where you sit there and you go, even with all of that being said, this is where, like, Chauncey Billups, and we have this text on the Vancouver Ford text line, 503-864-6326. With all that bad shooting, Danny, this is the question for you. Chauncey Billups' post-game interview tells me his job is safe in Portland. And it is, because it wasn't that they were shooting contested shots. Guys weren't open. Nothing was falling in. And they found their way to get that lead to single digits at one point, where you're going, they have no business being in this game.
They had no business
Charlotte's
being in
not
the game.
good.
They got it down to 3 points with about 5 minutes to go.
And
I'm sitting there going, how the hell is this game a 3-point game?
And I think that one thing that a lot of fans are concerned about is this is where, in a game like that, you have to lean on Anthony Simons. You have to lean on Jeremy Grant. And when those guys come up empty, that makes it that much worse. And that's where fans start wondering, all right, in a game like this, are those guys that are the ones that you want to be building this thing around?
Sure. And
you take a one-off, that's one thing. If this comes more consistent, and
then you start to wonder and you worry. Looking at the NBA tracking data last night on open threes without a defender within 4 to 6 feet, and this is always taken
without 4 to 6 feet, that is wide open.
No, there's more open than this. There's open and there's very open. They were
It's called warm-ups.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they had some of those looks too. But the Blazers were 1 of 12.
Oh my gosh.
1 of 12 last night. And then on the wide open, they were, holy crap, they were 2 for 19.
And that's where you just shake your head and you go,
wide open.
What are you gonna do?
That's shooting variance. That's all that is. That's shooting luck and shooting variance. When you're generating that many open looks and you're just clanking, talking to the guys afterward, there was a lot of there wasn't a lot of heads down. It was like hands thrown up, we're not a great shooting team, but no.
Well, look, on the bright side, at least, we might be getting more ping pong balls in our future, because now they're tied with the Hornets in the win column.
They are tied with the Hornets in the win column, which means that they may have an outside chance now at moving down, up. I don't know how we qualifying that.
Yeah,
up
to
number 4.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So
there's that.
Got a long way to go to catch the likes of Detroit, Washington, and even San Antonio.
Detroit and Washington are now tied at 9 wins apiece.
Detroit's still 8 and 48.
Still at 8, yeah.
8 and 48. Washington is 9 and 48.
Yep, you got it right here.
That's bad.
I could have swore I saw the standings both at 9.
Spurs are 11 and 47.
And then the Blazers and Hornets are both at 15.
Yes.
But then you take in, we all want to live in that moment of how bad last night was, because it historically was one of the worst shooting performances in NBA history. We just laid it out. 5th worst 3-point shooting performance of a team that attempted 30 or more 3-pointers ever. But what did you take from Friday coming out of the All-Star break, where you have a Denver team that is, in all earnest, making that push? They're only a game and a half back of being the top seed in the Western Conference. And
Jokic just flipping that switch.
On Friday night, Nikola Jokic, there's nobody in the NBA that can guard him when he's playing like that. The guy is not only is he a triple-double machine, but the efficiency with which he does it, it's mind-bending.
I've got a stat when we come back. We talk some MVPs that is absolutely bonkers. Jokic is starting to put up the tungsten arm O'Doyle, Wilt Chamberlain type stuff.
And that's interesting when you see a guy like Jokic, when he turns it on, the question then becomes, what is going to dictate this MVP race? Because you look at, after Friday, the idea of Jokic becoming an MVP that wins it too much, you can't just sit there and dismiss how damn good he is. First, though, is Rust with SportsCenter.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
Your new floors are in stock and ready to install at PG Long, your Northwest flooring experts, pglongllc.com. First on The Fan, it was cold in Portland last night, but nowhere more so than Moda Center as the Blazers fell to the Hornets in the lowest scoring game of this NBA season. They wrap up the 7-game homestand tomorrow night against the Heat. And as we mentioned there, Portland 15-41 on the season, the 5th worst record in the league, but tied with the Hornets in the win column. Warriors guard Chris Paul expected to be available tomorrow night against the Wizards. He's been out since January 5th with a fractured hand. Over in the NFL, the Bengals placed the franchise tag on wide receiver T. Higgins, meaning should the two sides not come to a long-term agreement before July 15th, Higgins will play on a one-year, $21.816 million deal. And 2023 WNBA MVP Breanna Stewart has agreed to terms on a one-year non-guaranteed below maximum deal to return to the New York Liberty. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
You're invited to play in the first annual Fan Winter Golf Classic at X Golf Tualatin and X Golf Vancouver. Sign your threesome up at 1080thefan.com.
Coming out of the All-Star break, the Blazers opened things up with the Denver Nuggets in Moda, and they lost 127-112. But that game was, it was nowhere close to being what we saw, last night offensively with the Charlotte Hornets. But one thing that was just crystal clear is anybody that is getting the Nikola Jokic wear from him being so damn good in this push for him to get another MVP, as the season goes on, it gets harder and harder to say no. And so people are going to start hunting and searching for the reasons why Nikola Jokic won't be the MVP. And that's where I come down to, all right, how is this thing going to sort itself out? Because if you look at the way Jokic is playing, the way Luka and SGA have turned to white hot as of lately, the three guys, two of them are triple-double machines in Jokic and Luka, but SGA especially, he's not that guy. And it all just, he's just a monster of efficiency and puts up points and is on a great team. How's this thing going to be dictated moving forward? Because as we go on and you have the run that Jokic is going on, if he really is ramping up like he usually does, I don't see how he doesn't win it again.
What's been insane with Jokic, and I always get caught up, I shouldn't say I get caught up in this, I let the greatness of Jokic kind of fall to the wayside because he makes the game look so simple that you don't forget about him, but you almost discount him. I was on my way in this morning, and Brian Windhorst, and Tim McMahon and Mark Spears, they had the Hoop Collective podcast. They were talking about Kevin Durant, and Mark Spears mentioned something that I've said it probably a million times about Kevin Durant. He's, to me, the greatest scorer we've ever seen. The problem with Kevin Durant is he makes scoring looks too easy. And so everybody discounts what he is and how good he is. He's ninth right now. If I told you that Kevin Durant was ninth right now as an all-time scorer, would that surprise you?
No.
But I think people don't realize the total volume of scoring he has done in his career and made it look wildly easy, basically being a 50, 40, 90 shooter for his career. Jokic, because he can't jump over a piece of paper, he has 9 dunks on the season.
He doesn't
He's 7 foot
need
tall.
to.
He is 7 foot tall, Dusty. Yeah. But I'm sitting there watching Friday night, and it wasn't just the passes themselves he was making. He was passing guys open with the type of pass, the angle of the pass, the touch on the pass. There was a pass that was maybe traveled horizontally 7 feet. It was a lob from the mid-block to Aaron Gordon. But the touch and the speed of like how he put it up and where it came down allowed Aaron Gordon to jump, flip 180, and reverse dunk an alley-oop home.
Yeah, you don't need to dunk when you got an Aaron Gordon.
But I mean, like the timing was, it was just so precise. He threw a touch pass again over the top to a cutting Reggie Jackson, where it was. I joked, who's a better passer right now, Patrick Mahomes or Nikola Jokic? Because the touch that he puts on his passes, it lands feathery soft. Even when he throws an absolute full court bullet, he has the 3/4 court inbounds pass to Aaron Gordon for the dunk. That's probably going to be the pass of the year. He throws that thing, rears back, and fires it. And it hits Aaron Gordon's hands like it floats in like it's being held by angels. He might be one of the 3 best passers the game has ever seen. That's the level he's operating at. And he does it in a way that looks like he doesn't care. And I've talked to his teammates, and he doesn't. He doesn't. Don't get me wrong, he cares about basketball. He doesn't care about the accolades. He doesn't care about scoring. He just wants to play a brand of basketball that is uniquely his own. And the Nuggets have unlocked this monster that has the ugliest jump shot you've ever seen. Doesn't miss. Dusty, he didn't miss
Cartwright would like
he didn't miss a shot for almost 7 quarters.
That is crazy.
He had a 100% field goal percentage triple-double coming out of the All-Star break. And I love Giannis. I love Luka. What SGA is doing right now is bonkers. Nikola Jokic is the best player on the planet, and he makes everyone around him so much better. The rising all tides kind of the rising waters will kind of lift all boats kind of thing. His is so exaggerated I can't even begin to explain it.
And I think that this is where he will be, because we've always run into this problem, right? With whether it is LeBron, Kobe, Jordan, anybody. We don't give the best player in the league the MVP every year.
You get tired of it.
But there is something about Jokic in that not caring about it. It's almost like it's going to be, people are more willing to
That's why Joel
concede.
Embiid got the MVP last year. The Nuggets and Joker shut it down. Here's Jokic's last 3 games since the All-Star break, right? Or post All-Star break. 27 points, 17 rebounds, 15 assists. That's what he's averaging over the last 3 games.
And I think that if we look at it, Luka's team may not be the one that makes that charge. If the Nuggets finish this season atop the Western Conference standings,
Which is going to be tough.
But they're a game and a half out.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, Oklahoma City and Minnesota they just keep winning.
And that's going to be kind of the thing, is that if that voter fatigue is real on Jokic's behalf, SGA kind of feels like he will be the guy that they say, all right, well, they held off Denver. He's been playing incredibly all season long from start to finish. I think it's going to be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But if Jokic continues to put up what he's been doing post All-Star break, and he's got like 25 games left, and he continues to play like this, absolutely, that dude is going to be the MVP again. And you can't argue against it, really, because of
he's breaking the game.
He is the best passer in the game right now, maybe one of the best passers ever. He is a triple-double machine, but it's not Russell Westbrook where
it's not hunting. It's just
you're hunting for it, you're taking rebounds from other guys. Everything is within the context of the game, and him being 7 feet tall and his ability to just not jump and just grab every rebound. Positioning, what's going on between the ears with him?
He's a savant. He's a basketball computer, and he throws passes that his teammates now, because they've been there long enough. Particularly Gordon. Gordon and him have it's Kelsey and Mahomes. There's a symbiotic relationship of just knowing when and where, and you see these things that you're just like I said, the reverse alley-oop dunk in traffic. That doesn't happen. Like, that play is seared into my brain, because like you're just sitting there going, what the hell just happened?
Is he the least athletic looking person to have like the most incredible highlight film?
Yes. Not even close.
I mean, I think you can go in like any sport.
Remember the playoffs last year?
He's not fast. He doesn't jump. But everything he does, whether it is grabbing a rebound and knowing who's running up the sideline,
not even looking,
and just rearing back and just chucking the ball to a spot and having a guy there, to the 3/4 court pass where he hits Aaron Gordon in stride for a dunk, to when the Golden State Warriors are trying to jump him with the double team on the backside and he feels it coming and just goes behind his head and boom, it's a picture perfect pass. He has these plays that are eye-popping where most of his highlights don't include him scoring the basket.
No, the shot that he made against the Lakers up against the shot clock last year in the playoffs. Remember that leaning fall away, holy crap, trebuchet all the way behind his head at like 38 feet that he just hucks at the rim, and it doesn't bank in, it doesn't rattle in, it touches nothing but the bottom of the net. And you're like, what the hell, dude?
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing, is like, he's an okay 3-point shooter. Like right now he's shooting 33% from 3 in the last 3 games. It's not what he's only taken 3 a game. Like, he doesn't really take them because he shoots 70% in the paint. He might be the best, not at the rim, but like the mid paint area scorer the league has ever seen.
Yeah.
His touch is just otherworldly there. And it's just because of that in between spot, people aren't used to defending that spot the way that you have to with him. So there's no real answer for that. And if you do, he finds somebody on a back cut, or he swings it over, or he he threw DeAndre Ayton like a rag doll in that game Friday night. He hit him with a drop step, and he hit him with the shoulder on the back of DeAndre's shoulder. Look, people can say what they want about DeAndre, blah, blah, blah. DeAndre is not a weak dude, and he does not shy away from contact, particularly on the block. He threw him like a rag doll, and it was just like, how is this guy able to do these feats while looking like that?
Unbelievable. And we have back-to-back texts. You guys ever seen Larry Bird? He's Larry Bird, but 7 feet. Two different people, just right in. Yeah. That is a great comp with the everything kind of coming within the context of the game. He isn't the most flashy guy, but the thing that Larry Legend had a mouth like a sailor and would S-talk you up and down.
Jokic doesn't say anything. That. Yeah, the only people he talks to during the game are refs.
But that is a good comp of the guy who does everything right around him, and his highlight film is a ton of plays that he's not putting
nothing but just giving dudes buckets in the most simple way possible.
And like Larry, the thing that made Larry incredible is it wouldn't look like what Jordan was doing or Magic was doing, but he would tell you exactly how it was going to happen, and he would describe it to you in detail and then go and do it.
There's clips of him. They got him like quasi mic'd up. You can read his lips of telling guys, I'm going to hit you here, then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to hit this shot. Hell, he beat the Portland Trailblazers playing entirely left-handed.
Yeah.
He was saving his right hand for the Lakers.
Which you could do at that time,
That's insane.
All right. Vancouver Ford text line 503-864-6326. Your dollar goes further at Vancouver Ford. They treat you right before, during, and after the sale. Visit them online. VancouverFord.com. Fun with audio. This hit probably too close to home. Next on The Fan. Come join us. It's the inaugural Fan Winter Golf Classic at X Golf Tualatin and X Golf Vancouver. Tomorrow, February 27th, Danny and I will be up at the Vancouver location. Primetime with Isaac and Stuke are going to be down at the Tualatin location. Yeah, come party with us. We will be there noon to 3, and then 3 to 7, they kick off primetime at both X Golf locations. The 4 p.m. round at X Golf Tualatin completely sold out. Noon rounds, still got some spots available in the noon rounds. You can choose from either the noon or the 4 p.m. round at X Golf Vancouver. Broadcast going to be live. The winning team gets a place in the 10th annual Fan Golf Classic. Last place threesome. You receive a free lesson because you're not very good at golf. So come out, join us, party with us. Even if you're not going to golf, just come down, whether you're on your lunch break, after work, whatever it is, come to either X Golf Tualatin or X Golf Vancouver. We got food from Victor Rico's Mexican Food for our golfers, along with Pearl Catering and the Urban Restaurant Group. And we're all going to be playing Pebble Beach. Pebble Beach. Go to 1080thefan.com for more information or to sign your threesomes up. Now, tomorrow, they're letting us out of the cage. We get to go to X Golf Vancouver. I'm looking forward to it.
That's going to be a blast. You kidding me?
Yeah.
I'm still trying to remember. Don't come to this building. Don't come to this building. I put it in my phone.
Yeah, we'll see if that happens.
Make sure you go to the golf place.
We'll see if that happens. All right, Shane Gillis, he hosted SNL over the weekend.
Which is ironic considering he got fired by SNL.
Yeah, his monologue was something.
It was great.
If you know who Shane Gillis is,
he made it as awkward as humanly possible.
You thought it was phenomenal.
Yes.
Many people did not.
I could not stop laughing.
I am not I think people lose kind of the context on how he throws some words around.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not a fan of his use of the R word.
Sure.
I do not like that. But he's talking about his family members, which he has great relationships with. But, I mean, that still just rubs people the wrong way.
Sure.
I'm not a person that gets upset at comedians because they're comedians. But I know a lot of people were really upset. There were some sketches, though, where it was like SNL needed a guy like Shane Gillis who understands. He had in his monologue that wasn't offending everybody. He was talking about how he missed his opportunity as a high school football coach, which, I mean, it was money.
Which, if you've seen Shane Gillis, he is what you think a high school football coach looks like.
Absolutely. But they had a sketch that I'm assuming is all him, and it checked every single box. They were doing a sketch that was spoofing all of the online betting apparatuses that we have now. And it's called Rock Bottom Kings. And when you hear this, like, you will find that they pulled every common thread in all of the commercials that we see on TV. You pick the online betting or the betting app of choice. You could pick any of them. And I noticed that they're going down the roads of beer commercials and pizza commercials where all of them are exactly the same because they knocked it out of the park. And I think we all can relate to this.
The thrill of victory.
The satisfaction of placing a bet and watching it hit big.
The exhilaration of an upset only you saw coming.
With betting apps right on your phone, it's easier than ever to turn your passion for sports into cold, hard cash.
And with so many games to bet on, you almost can't lose.
But there's a dark side as well.
We all know a friend who struggles with online gambling.
A friend who's on the verge of losing everything. His house, his family, his entire life.
And now you can bet on exactly how he'll lose it all.
With Rock Bottom Kings.
It's the only app that lets you take prop bets about how your degenerate gambler friend is finally going to hit rock bottom.
Will it be goes double or nothing on a random WNBA game?
Or bets his child's college fund on the coin toss.
And when your friend is desperate for cash, you can bet on what his lowest moments will be. Will he take out a life insurance policy on his own mother? Will he set up a fake GoFundMe that says he has leukemia? And what will he sell first? His PS5 or his kidney?
And you can build a parlay about everything that could happen to him. Divorce, marries rich old widow, arrested for elder fraud, and fakes his own death, but is immediately caught when he uses an app to gamble.
With Rock Bottom Kings, you'll feel like you're in the game. The game of your friend versus his horrible demons.
But again, addiction is a real problem.
And we take it very seriously.
That's why all these gambling ads are full of cash, gold, fireworks, and flames exploding everywhere.
Because you're not a loser. Your friend is.
They say the house always wins. Well, now you're the house, and your friend is probably gonna lose his.
Does it seem a little cruel to bet on your friend's devastating addiction? Sure. But it's also hilarious.
So however your friend bottoms out, make sure you cash out at Rock Bottom Kings.
Download Rock Bottom Kings today, because gambling is serious. Seriously awesome.
Rock Bottom Kings. He's the one with the problem.
Oh, that's fantastic. Every last bit about that is fantastic.
They pull every single one
Oh,
of the threads
God.
of the
gambling commercial,
and you
yeah.
notice that they all use the same music under all of them.
Yes.
They had like fireworks and like a lot of fog machines were being used in production. And I'm sitting there going, this looks like you don't just pick one; it's
All
every
of them.
single one of them.
Look, they've all been focus grouped to death. They know what they're selling.
And then
Have you been to Las Vegas?
they go from hey, look how fun it is to hey, it's very serious.
Yes.
This is very serious. Bet responsibly. But hey, you can bet on how he's gonna lose his house.
It's the way every gambling commercial ends.
Yes.
If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLING-PROBLEM. And it's like, what are we doing here? And the funny thing about that is the call the 1-800 number is always call 1-800. It's sped up 1,000% because of how it's got to fit in the commercial.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. There were a few friends that I sent this to, and I was like, "Hey, bud, like,
I'm getting odds on you.
let's maybe you need to tone it down a little bit and take a little advice here. You could be the guy that everybody's talking about because I think if we all know somebody that you have to have those serious talks with, and you're like, God, pump the brakes, bud. Let's not go too far on your 20-leg parlay on NFL's super duper wild card weekend.
Yeah, no, that's not gonna go their way. That's a little tough.
But that's the fastball that I think SNL has been missing, is that they leaned way into the political side of it, where that's what made SNL great, was they would take all of our pop culture references that we had and they just crank them up to 11, right?
Yes,
And
that's the whole point.
Everything is just, hey, seriously, think about how stupid it is, some of the things that we're doing here. And this was it. And this is what kind of we've been missing from SNL, and which has not been getting rave reviews as of late.
No, it's been years. They have a show here or there where they have a guest who carries it. 5 years ago, Chance the Rapper was on there, and his entire show was great. Peyton Manning is always great, but as overall writers, they've been lacking. Like, Weekend Update is really the only thing that they crush anymore.
I think that you're starting to see, especially with like a guy like Gillis coming back. I think Lorne Michaels is seeing that edge is going to be needed.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
It needs to come back after they went too far.
Overcorrected with
overcorrecting.
Let's have the kind comedy. It's like, no, it's not what we want.
And it's not a lot of what it was previously
No,
either.
Saturday Night Live always was problematic.
Yeah. Schlitzke, anybody? Or Schmitzke? Schmitzke. Schmitzke.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was
Sweaty balls?
Super colon blow.
Exactly.
Buzz Brothers?
Exactly. Just
He's buzzing off again.
yeah, the ambiguously gay duo.
Yeah, like
Ace and Gary. I mean, that was
Hans and Franz shooting roids. Like,
yeah. I mean,
Listen to me now, believe me later.
remember sometime soon.
like that was like the whole point of Saturday Night Live was to be on the edge and to like
The church lady.
yes.
I missed that.
I think they're trying to harness it back in.
Also,
Shane Gillis
by
on
being funny.
In Shane Gillis in the monologue, though, it was like all right, we've been overcorrecting one way. We're going to skid right into the side of the mountain, because if you don't know his style, that was in like this texture says, it was painful, the monologue. Yeah, that's how he operates.
Yes.
And his whole thing is making people feel uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable as hell.
Like his mother and father who were in
the
attendance.
audience.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was great in that regard. There's some things like with every comic you take, and some he can just have right back, but that's his line.
No.
That's his line. And I thought it was finally there was an SNL. It was good. It was a good watch.
Yeah.
It was a great watch. All right. Hey, which path is more likely? Let's talk a little NFL. Russ getting back, or the Bears getting it right because there's news out of both angles as we are entering Underwear Olympics season. It's starting this week. Danny and Dusty on the Fan. Monday. I hear it's snowing in some parts of Portland. We got a texture earlier. It was like, hey, it's snowing near Cabela's, which would be Tualatin. I saw that it was snowing in Bethany. There was slush on our cars this morning.
Yeah, but that
Was it
seemed
that
like
cold?
I thought it was more. That was more like ice than snow, though. I think.
Yeah, it was like slushy.
Like
but
grapple, whatever they want to call it.
What'd you call me?
You heard me.
Did you say Jimmy Garoppolo?
Don't make me stutter.
Grapple?
Grapple?
I've never heard that word in my life.
It's some weird mix of like freezing rain, snow, sleet, what have you.
Sure, we need it.
Yeah, another one of those things where I can't define it.
How do you spell it?
See, this
Graupel.
And this is what Oregon does to you. We got fake ass spring.
Mm-hmm.
Friday, Saturday, beautiful weather.
Yeah.
So grapple is a like the in between point of hail and sleet.
That would probably, yes, that would be what I would describe that as then.
And according to the weather folks, in many areas, grapple is relatively uncommon because it's a unique atmospheric condition required for its formation.
Sure.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, grapple is like that's a crappy quarterback on the Raiders.
So a quarterback on the Raiders.
I'm gonna get blessed with Justin Fields. I just know it.
Hey, well, maybe not. You see what Peter King had to say on the day he retired? Peter King retiring today.
I mean, he's been in the game for like, what, 40 years?
Yeah, I was floored when I saw that he said his Football Morning in America has been, or Monday Morning Quarterback,
Yes,
it's had the different
same thing,
variations. 27 years online. 27 years online.
The internet hasn't been around that long.
Yeah, you were going.
Yeah,
to
Al
get
Gore
that.
invented the internet for that column.
Did he?
The first thing on the internet was Monday Morning Quarterback.
But he said for 27 years he's been running Monday Morning Quarterback or Football Morning in America. And I'm not going to fact check that. I'm going to take the man for his word. He's a big J journalist, journalistic integrity.
Holy crap. It was that long ago. 1992, AOL went public. In 92.
In 92.
93, they
That's more
started
than 27
sending.
years ago.
Yeah, 93, they started sending the discs. And in 95, the service reached 1 million.
Okay. And so that would be right around when he
Yeah.
was pumping it out onto the internet. Look at
Oh
that.
my God, man.
Yeah. So that's today in internet. But in his Monday Morning Quarterback or Football Morning in America, whatever the hell they call it, he said the winds are a changing when it comes to Justin Fields. He is getting the feeling in conversations that he's had with people around the league and people within the Bears organization and around the Bears organization, the Bears are probably going to hang on to Justin Fields. Which you are noted Justin Fields hater. I don't think that Justin Fields is a subpar quarterback. I think that he has all of the potential that people see in him. I get that offensive line was god awful this past year. And I don't know if Shane Waldron is the fix, especially after hearing JSN's comments at Super Bowl media junkets. But you look at Justin Fields and you say, the pieces are there. Can he put it together? Is he ever going to be elite? I don't think he's an elite quarterback, but I think there's very few of those guys across the NFL. And there's like only one Patrick Mahomes right now. But there are a lot of, if you build a good roster and look at what the Chicago Bears did defensively, especially after the trade deadline, they got Montez Sweat. They're one of the best defenses in the NFL in the last 2 months of the season. And so you look at, that's a back half of the year. Their defense was really damn good. And so what they're looking at is like, all right, if we have 1, we have 9, and somebody's desperate and we can upgrade our roster now and stockpile picks for next year, then we can pay Justin Fields. You're not paying him the $58 million or whatever, but we can afford to pay Justin Fields and then have a backloaded roster with a lot of young pieces that you say that is a formula to make a run.
Real quick, in the entire history of the Bears organization, literally the entire history of the Bears organization,
history of it,
have they ever been in position to draft a franchise quarterback? Number one.
Well, yeah, last year.
Well,
when they traded the pick to the Carolina Panthers.
They got that one right.
So, last year would be 1 year.
Okay. My point being, there's a difference between, I think, what Bryce Young was evaluated as versus what Caleb Williams is evaluated as. I would say there's a very stark difference between the two.
Okay. If you go down this road, though, you trade back out of one.
Mm-hmm.
You get, at that point, if you're going 2 or 3,
you're going to 2 because Washington's
you can have your pick of Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze, whomever you
offensive
feel
lineman
is the number 1. Then you also have the 9th overall pick. Mm-hmm. Still in this draft, which is not going anywhere. It is their own pick. And then you can go, offensive lineman, or you can go, they also need a corner and always want to you could potentially get the best defensive lineman in the draft at 9.
Mm-hmm.
And you could sit there and you could say, all right, we're going to fortify our defense even more, or we go and we get that interior offensive line figured out because it's a mess. It's an absolute disaster.
There's a thought that there could be 3 centers that go in the first round this year.
That's nuts. And Jackson Powers Johnson out of Oregon is projected as the top guy. That is wild to think about. But the importance of that position, it's immeasurable. Yes. I mean, he's the brain of your offense. And when you have elite players at that category, and this is why teams that are in the back end of the first round, that's where they're going to thrive. They're going to say, what do we need? And where do we have an immense amount of talent? It's at the center position in this draft. It truly is. Mm-hmm. But they could go there. They also have $83 million in cap space.
Which you blew my mind with this. I was like, well, what about the rookie holds? And you're like, no, that's after the rookie holds. I was like, oh, God.
Yeah.
They can sign this entire class and still have $80 million to play with?
They got a ton of space with the salary cap that they can kind of, if you don't go interior offensive line, you can go out and sign some guys there, which you can say, could the Bears turn it around? Could they be like that Texans-esque team that had 2 first-round picks? Yeah, because nobody trusts Matt Eberflus or Shane Waldron, and you probably shouldn't.
Or Poles.
You probably shouldn't, because they didn't fire their head coach at an opportunity where you could say, all right, this is where we're going to go and how we're going to operate moving forward. Kind of muff the pun on that one, guys.
The Texans, what did they do? They went out and got the GM, which they got in trouble for trying to go get from New England. They went out and got their coach, and they had a new organizational total reset before going down the path that they've gone down.
Yeah.
That's why this worked, is you had everybody on the same bleeping page. If Eberflus craps the bed this season, you're firing him at the end of the year.
You're firing him midway through the season.
Yeah, you might turf him right away. So what the hell are you waiting for? And if that's the position you're in going into the draft, you're already behind the 8 ball. So you're screwing over whatever quarterback you have, whether it's Fields, who's going into his contract here, or your rookie.
Yeah.
So I have zero faith that they're going to get this right.
But they have the pieces that you could say.
Sure.
And Poles isn't that bad.
No.
It's talent evaluation and getting themselves in this position.
They got out of Bryce Young, so he's clearly smart enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, could have had CJ Stroud,
sure.
But you also had a young quarterback that you wanted to see last year, and you saw a little bit of growth out of him, and we're going to see kind of something. Still just tells me, though, say they don't have a second-round pick this year.
No.
Say you trade Justin Fields and you get that second-round pick that many believe that you can get for him because he's a starting-level quarterback in the NFL, and he is going to be on a favorable contract for you to where you have the option year. You can view it just as a rental, and then if it doesn't work out, you can move on. Atlanta would be, a team that would be in this category. Pittsburgh Steelers also in that category where you could see them say, all right, we'll take a flyer on a guy, relatively low risk, and if we have at the bare minimum, we get a starter for at least 2 seasons, and then you move on and you say, all right, we're going to wash our hands of it, and it didn't work out. Because if it goes in the side of the mountain, guess what? Probably going to be drafting pretty high.
It's fair.
So if you trade him for a second-round pick, you go and you draft Caleb Williams at 1. Say Rome Odunze is sitting there at 9, and you can go and get Rome Odunze, and then you match him with DJ Moore, Rome Odunze. Then you can spend some of that $83 million that you have in salary cap to go and bolster the interior offensive line, whether it's Connor Williams, who's going to be one of the cap casualties in Miami, who is their starting center, or you go and you get Kevin Zeitler from Baltimore, who's a guard. maybe a stopgap because he's a little bit older, but you can get a couple good seasons out of him.
But you go from
and you
having
say,
a crappy offensive
all
line
right.
to a viable offensive line behind your franchise or in front of your franchise quarterback.
There is a pathway in that you can say, all right, Chicago could figure it out if they switch their damn head coach, but there is that pathway there.
Yeah,
Where
the flip side is, of course, is what Peter King outlines in Football Morning in America, which is the cycling back and doing what the Texans did. And the way he does it is trading the number 1 pick back to the Wizards, to the Commanders for Caleb Williams, and then taking the Commanders pick and trading that back to the Falcons. And in the process, collecting the 8th pick from the Falcons, using their 9th, second-round picks from both Washington and Atlanta, and then between the two trade backs, 3 more first-round picks and 2 second-round picks in 2025. So you would have 5 picks in the first 2 rounds, in the first 64 picks, and to be honest, probably 5 picks in the high.
That's a lot
40s.
of capital, man.
But the flip side is, what if they don't get the sweet deal that they got with the Panthers and them being crappy? What if Caleb Williams is that guy? What if the Commanders now go, hi, we've got a franchise quarterback. Thanks for business.
Yeah,
and
you
they
never
rattle
wanna be there.
and they rattle off 10, 11 wins.
Yeah, then you're the Portland Trailblazers saying, it made sense at the time.
Yeah. But you know what I mean?
Like at the time, it made sense.
Yeah.
Like, of course
And
it
that's
did.
what I'm saying.
Greg Oden over Kevin Durant. Yeah. Sam Bowie over Michael Jordan. It made
Bears-
sense at the
call.
time.
Still the right call.
Still the right call.
The Bears not taking this opportunity when it's there. If you miss, you miss. But man, you've never had the opportunity to swing, and the opportunity is there, and you're not going to do it.
But then you have to circle back to how real is the Caleb Williams trying to flex his muscles not to be
Out
in
of Chicago. Yep.
And then at that point, I think then you really start thinking about it. And if
then
you're,
you-
Chi-
then
if
you
you're
should trade
Chicago,
back.
if you're Chicago, by the way, that is going to be one where Caleb Williams they're going to leak that, and they will make sure that is
The driving nail.
number 1.
Yes.
And
And that's why we traded back.
That will always stick with Caleb Williams, no matter what his career
And
does.
it'll honestly, capital politically and in public, it will save the Bears.
It will. And it should.
Even if he's great, because nobody kills the Chargers for Eli.
Yeah, and they're going to say we couldn't do this at the beginning because at the time we couldn't let that out because we lose our leverage. Then.
Yeah.
So all of that is there, and then you have on the flip side, Russell Wilson went on the I Am Athlete podcast.
Mm-hmm.
He said he wants to win 2 Super Bowls in the next 5 years in Denver.
I too would be trying to guarantee my contract.
I think the more plausible is what else has been floated over the weekend, which is Russell Wilson. The Denver Broncos may just be done with him, and they may just eat all of the dead cap.
Walmart money, baby.
It was $89 million over 2
$89
seasons
million.
in dead cap, where they're going to pay his guarantees, and he plays at the league minimum somewhere.
Ugh.
So somebody like Russell Wilson at his number, it is not palatable. At league minimum,
You can talk yourself into it.
where the Broncos are footing the bill for everybody else, hell yeah, you're going to take that.
Yeah, you took that flyer.
You're going to run with that because Russell Wilson was not god awful. He just wasn't Russ in his prime because he's not in his prime anymore.
No.
And so
Stopgap late career veteran quarterback on league minimum. Yeah.
who can still sling it, hell yeah, you're going to take that.
No, in a place like Pittsburgh where you don't lean on your quarterback at all, you just ask them to please don't blow this.
What a turn of events Russell Wilson's career will go from him trying to call all the shots and muscle his way to
Mike Tomlin telling him to
particular
shut up.
teams to then having to go to Pittsburgh, and Mr. Unlimited is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania after that.
Mike Tomlin stuffs him in a locker. God, I'd love to see it.
Chef's kiss. All right, 503-864-6326. That's the Vancouver Ford text line. Love to hear your comments on all things. Coming up next, we're blowing something out of proportion once again. And blaming the wrong people once again. Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
of 83-79, and for the first time in 4 years, Mark, the Deacons off or knock off a top 10 team. Wake stays unbeaten at home, 15-0. The students have stormed the court as Wake hangs on to beat the Devils 83-79.
That was a call. Learfield Sports Wake Forest Radio Network, as Wake Forest, a favorite in the game, knocks off a top 10 team, unranked team, knocking off a top 10 team again.
Again.
Oh, weird. We've heard this one, but Vegas had the foresight. They're like, we're going to favor. Man, they would be underdogs.
Unranked team knocking off top 10 team. Why is Vegas in on that?
Because I think that was the 38th unranked team to knock off a top 10 team this year. I believe that, unless there's any others that I missed over the weekend. It's quite jarring to see how many of these upsets that we are having in college basketball. Like, it's crazy. Now you have Houston, the number one ranked team in the country. Circle that one for your March Madness brackets that you're going to be all filling out. But the aftermath of that court storming at Wake Forest is now everybody wants to place the blame. Where do we go? Jon Scheyer, immediately after the game, head coach of the Duke Blue Devils.
I'm more concerned about the well-being of our guys. Flip sprains his ankle. When are we going to ban court storming? Like, when are we going to ban that? Like, how many times does a player have to get into something where they get punched or they get pushed or they get taunted right in their face? And it's a dangerous thing. You look around the country and Caitlin Clark, something happens. And now Flip, I don't know what his status is going to be. He sprains his ankle. And it's one thing, like when I played, at least it was 10 seconds in the court, you would storm the court. Now it's the buzzer doesn't even go off and they're running on the floor. And this has happened to us a bunch this year. It's part of it. We need to be better. We need to learn from this. That needs to stop.
I like that Scheyer at the end says, this happens to us a bunch. It's part of it. Yeah, you're Duke. When you lose on the road, people are it's a big deal because you're Duke. But what we have in Kyle Filipowski, if you missed it, he got stepped on by somebody, sprains his ankle. It was not a good situation. But everybody is blaming the students in these. The Caitlin Clark incident, where I still am on board with, she flopped on that one, as the young woman on her phone even was moving one direction.
Oh, the way she acted was so ridiculous. Honestly, Filipowski also throws his arms out and gets himself caught in this too.
Which I think that when you see that rush of people, I think that's your natural reaction, is create space for yourself. But everybody wants to just go right at the students who are doing this. And court storming is, does it happen a lot? Well, this year it happens a lot because you have all these unranked teams knocking off top 10 teams. It's incredible what we're seeing. But we do see a lot of court storming, and it seems to be happening more and more often. But Jay Bilas is going way beyond it.
But the truth is, nothing's going to change now. We're going to talk about it, and it's going to go away, and nothing's going to change. And if they wanted to stop it, they could stop it tomorrow. The administrators will tell you that security experts tell them that it's not a good idea to try to stop the court storming, that could cause more problems than it would solve. But you don't have to stop the court storming. One time, all you have to do is, once they're on the court, don't let them off. Just say you're all detained and give them all citations, or arrest them if you want to. And then court stormings will stop the next day.
Get out the paddy wagon.
There's no accountability for this. The fans feel like it's an entitlement, and the universities like it, and the truth is we like it.
The truth is we like it.
Also, real quick, Duke, did you storm the court after Coach K's 500th win against North Carolina in 1998?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you did? Weird.
But nobody was hurt. And this is the thing, is somebody got hurt, and that is the problem. But we are putting it all on the students. And look, I think if somebody does get injured in it, I think it's okay if you hold that person accountable. Just for storming the court, you don't arrest every single person that storms the court. But how many times have we seen it where it's incident-free? And I think what Scheyer was saying is you would wait 10 seconds. Do you see what happened on last week? I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday when Creighton beat UConn.
Yeah.
In another unranked team at home, beats the number 1 team in the country.
Beat the brakes off them.
Creighton's fans storm the court.
Sure. It was their first win over a number 1 team in program history.
What we are blaming in all of this is the students for being college students.
Yeah.
That's what they do. Do you see what security did at Creighton? The security went and they formed a wall knowing that the court storm was going to happen, and they blocked off a pathway for UConn to leave the floor. Yeah. And they were arm in arm. They said, you're not getting near the players. You're going to be coming off the floor.
Ta-da!
Nobody got hurt. And there was a clear path that UConn could exit the floor. And there was an opportunity for Wake Forest in their security
to do that because there's a timeout.
There's a timeout with 1.8 seconds to go right before that steal. And that is when security usually gets in place. And like coaches actually go through this in that situation where and Seth Greenberg did a really good job of kind of outlining this in that he was upset that somebody got hurt, and it does suck.
Yeah,
especially for a team like,
I don't want to see that happen to a guy. He's going to be an NBA draft pick. Like, you don't want to see that happen.
But he also said that we call those timeouts for that reason, because you know that this is going to happen. Everybody knows this is going to happen, especially in a game like that where you're sitting there and you're going, we actually feel comfortable with where we are in our lead heading into this game, because it was 83-79. It was a 4-point game at that point. Like, you're calling that with 1.8 seconds to make sure all of this gets sorted out. Security didn't do their job either.
Yeah.
Like, where there's drunk idiot students, absolutely.
Always.
Absolutely. Welcome to college. But it's also a security thing. And I love that we need to get rid of court storming. It's terrible now. It's never been great. There's always some idiots. I remember the Washington State with Austin Seferian-Jenkins. There was an issue after a football game. Every now and then there are these issues that do arise. Mostly, though, it is incident-free.
It's the price of freedom, Dusty.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'd say that jokingly, but it kind of is.
But those moments, though, that's part of the college experience, though, is when you have a moment like that. But the way that ended, I hope it just doesn't derail Filipowski or Duke. Even though it's like, most of us don't like Duke.
Nobody but Duke likes Duke.
You don't want to see this happen.
I love Duke.
Oh, hey, Coach K's here.
Hey,
how you doing, Coach K?
Thanks for joining us.
How you doing?
I love Duke.
That's pretty good, Coach K.
Coach K, think of like Shire handled that with like, when are we going to ban court storming? But he actually thought. Could you imagine what Coach K would have said? Coach K would.
Oh, he would have hanging people in the square, people cutting off hands and limbs. How dare they?
Yeah, it would have been.
Don't they know this is Duke?
Do you know who I am? Yeah. That's not how he would have given everybody a long talk like he did Dylan Brooks in the NCAA tournament.
You know, it's just a shame that kids can't figure out how to comport themselves after a big victory.
You do. That's a really good Coach K. That's good Coach K. I like that. We're not banning court storming.
No, grow up. Have a little bit of fun. Coming up next, it's our worst day on the web, and then following that, we have a wild sideline reporter, Brooke Golsendam, popping into the building sometime here in the near future. But I tell you what, the creativity that guys come up with for the best punishments for fantasy football losers, mwah! But first, here's Big Kahuna Sports Center update.
You ever had a Big Kahuna burger?
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Vulcan Design and Construction. Check out their award-winning outdoor living designs or schedule your free design consultation at vulcandc.com. First on The Fan, it was mighty cold in Portland last night, but nowhere more so than the Moda Center as the Blazers fell to the Hornets in the lowest scoring game of this NBA season. Portland wraps up their 7-game homestand tomorrow night as the Miami Heat roll into town. Blazers 15-41, the 5th worst record in the league, but tied with the Hornets in the win column. Warriors guard Chris Paul expected to be available tomorrow night against the Wizards. He's been out since January 5th with a fractured hand. Over in the NFL, the Bengals placed a franchise tag on wide receiver T. Higgins, meaning should the two sides not come to a long-term agreement before July 15th, Higgins will play on a 1-year, $21.816 million deal. And 2023 WNBA MVP Breanna Stewart has agreed to terms on a 1-year, non-guaranteed below maximum deal to return to the New York Liberty. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rush at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Live, local, and free. No subscription required. Portland's sports leader is 1080 The Fan. Time for today's worst day on the web. With Danny and Dusty on Odyssey and 1080 The Fan.
Well, that sucks.
Well, man is becoming more and more ingenious as it pertains to the punishments necessary for finishing in last place in your fantasy football league. it becomes infinitely more important, I would say, when you have the means and necessary things to punish somebody even further, like being a part of a fantasy football league when you're a Major League Baseball player.
These Major League Baseball fantasy football leagues are intense.
Well, I mean, it literally started a fight 2 years ago.
Yes.
A guy got sucker punched over it.
Yep.
That was, I believe, Mike Trout's infamously very popular, very guarded fantasy football league. Need the special invite for that one.
Was that Tommy Pham, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't remember who he suckered though. There's a Giants outfielder.
Yeah.
But this one's great. Tim Meza for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Jock Peterson, I think it was, right?
Yes.
Wasn't it Jock?
Yes, that's who it was. But Tim Meza for the Toronto Blue Jays is out at spring training, and if his jersey looked a little weird because it looked like it had 3 numbers, it's because it did. That's because he finished 4-10 in his fantasy football league, and his number on his jersey was 4-10.
That is brutal. And not only did he have to wear that in a spring training game, he had to be the bat boy as well. When you take the job of a 12-year-old and you have to wear the 4-10 on your back, that is a fantastic punishment. Because they let every journalist know.
Oh yeah.
And so it was on every social media feed.
Every camera, every feed, everything.
It's brilliant punishment.
So he's running up and down out of the dugout over and over again with his helmet on, playing fetch for the bats.
And it's the safe form of humiliation there.
Yeah, because I was Googling the 20 best
fantasy football punishments
for your losers. Number 1, body waxing.
Yowzers.
Think about the
40-year-old virgin.
Well, everybody always thinks about like the chest. I'm like, what about the armpits?
Armpits would hurt.
That's the one I'm like, oh god, that seems like the 9th rung of hell.
Yeah, I think all of it.
I mean, don't get me wrong, all of it sucks, but that one in particular feels
Armpits
like
would be a tough one.
I feel like the blood would be involved.
I'm quite partial to dressing the loser up and making him stand on the street corner like a panhandler, right?
Oh yes,
and like you
put
him in the Borat swimsuit. You just stick him out there,
sandwich sign him.
Let him suffer out there for a while. Those are always fun, and nobody gets hurt in those. Well, mostly nobody gets hurt in those situations.
The Waffle House punishment's a good one.
What's that?
So you have to spend 24 hours in a Waffle House.
Oh,
but
boy.
You're
going to see some stuff.
That's the thing. However, you get an hour deducted from your jail time for every waffle that you consume.
Okay, now you have to have somebody there tracking this at all times, though.
Or you just live stream it.
And that's
You live stream it.
Okay, and just make sure he houses all of them.
You kidding me? Just give him a little charger for his cell phone. Put it on. Throw a Twitch account up for it. Turn it on your cell phone.
Oof.
It's as simple as that.
God, this is a brutal one. A few years ago, we made our loser eat 6 devil wings, 4 million Scoville at the bar. We got to watch his pain up close and then got reports from his wife the next morning as it all came in the form of liquid hot magma. We call that the Ring of Fire. That's a tough one. And because that one sticks with you for a couple of days there.
The one I love. Open mic night.
Make him do stand up?
Stand up.
That is so hard to do.
You will die. No. The best comedians of all time die on open mics.
It's brutal because the room is something that you could be really funny, but if the room isn't feeling you or they don't know you and they're not picking up what you're putting down, it can be a lonely time.
God, here's one that's ingenious: taking the SAT.
I'd just bomb it.
Just how dumb are you now?
Like I wouldn't even try on that. You forced me to do it. I'm not going to try on that. I studied for the SATs. I'm not going to study for this. What are we doing here? I forgot all that stuff anyway.
This one's a little more interesting. Dodgeball, but with fruit. And you're the only one playing.
Oh, yeah, that's like butts up. Basically, but just with fruit thrown at you. That's a decent one. Loser had to get a job at Hot Dog on a Stick and work a full shift. That coming on the Vancouver Ford text line. That's a good one. You have to wear the dumb hat and the little vest there, working the mall job and working a full shift there.
Ooh, that's a good one.
But then, I mean, you're just quitting and leaving.
This one right here from the Vancouver Ford text line.
What if you didn't get the job at Hot Dog on a Stick? You're like, I applied. They said no. They turned me down.
Volunteer? No. The Vancouver Ford text line. We bought the Packy death chip, but after that kid died, none of our wives would let us do it. During COVID, I did it.
Who died? Somebody
died, but they tried to sue over the chip, but I think the kid had other issues.
Ah, all right.
But I did it. It sucked. It was not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it's just one chip, right?
Yeah, but even then,
it's a very spicy.
It's a spicy chip. Like, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't that bad. Like, it didn't. And it was like, oh, did it hurt coming out? I'm like, I didn't even notice.
Well,
dude.
you like the spice.
I do, but
you like the spice.
I haven't had anything that like I've certainly had it spicier than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the pack now apparently they have a new chip. Which,
no idea.
I'd be interested in watching somebody. Here's an interesting one that you're gonna be stuck with: personalized license plate.
Ooh, not the holder, the actual plate.
Yeah.
You got that for a couple of years though.
Yeah, and not only that, those aren't cheap.
No, you're paying
$200.
Couple $100. You have to go through all the rigmarole to get it, and then you have it on your car for a while. Like that sucks because is everybody doing that every year? Because you could be like, you could go from worst to first, and you still got that crappy license plate.
It's stuck there.
Nah,
because I think most license plates are like a 3-year minimum.
No, yeah, I think that's about right. Depending on when your car's made.
Just have dummy on your plate.
Yeah,
just follow dummy.
Yeah, I suck. FFB like fantasy football. There
careful.
You go. What?
Careful.
About what?
Look, man, those abbreviations can mean a lot.
I don't know if FFB is any of them except for fantasy football.
Do you want to roll the dice on that one?
Yeah, I'll Urban Dictionary that.
All right. While you do that, we've got Brooke Olzendam coming up here in studio.
That just means F Facebook.
Sure.
That's all it means.
Okay.
Yeah, well, according to Urban Dictionary, which is, that's what my go-to here.
Okay.
They have it all.
When we go to a break, I'll tell you another place to search to see if anything comes up.
It's like, we used to make fun of TMZ all the time. Then they started breaking real news and stuff.
They're actually being real reporters.
Yeah.
Coming up next, speaking of real reporters, Brooke Olzendam in studio. Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan. Here on Danny and Dusty, and we decided to class up the joint a little bit. Trailblazer sideline reporter Brooke Olzendam now joining us.
A lot.
A lot. It is what it is. Hey, Jeff. Thank you. Brooke, thanks for joining us.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. I've been so excited about this. I've been hoping that you would ask me to come on, and so this is perfect because I love you two so much. And
Aww.
It's true. It's true. It's true. So this is such a fun thing for me. I've been pumped. My dad's here. It's a whole fun experience, and you guys do a great job. I listen to you all the time, so it's fun to come on and be a part of it.
Okay, well then you know that I do have a bone to pick with you right now.
Uh-oh.
I have been looking. It's been a week now.
Yes.
I have not seen a single Washington State Cougars post after they beat Arizona.
I did post something.
You did?
Yeah, but then I felt bad, and I took it down.
What?
Coward!
Come on! It couldn't have been that bad, Brooke.
It wasn't that bad.
Your beloved Cougars knock off Arizona on the road, and it is the biggest win of the Kyle Smith era. And the first person I went to was like, all right, I got to see what Brooke said.
So I retweeted the Cougs had posted #1 in the pack, and I retweeted it, and I said, when we can say this, I will yell this, or something like that, like, because we never can say that.
No.
And then I was like, was that too boisterous? And the next morning I was like, I feel like I was being a little petty and a little, I don't know, too much. So
that's sports, bro.
Yeah,
that's what we do.
I know. Well, then
Have you seen me with USC, Brooke?
Yes, I
Love
have.
God.
Well, you know, Rasan
Oh, now that's why you took it down.
I don't want to be like Danny. I'm just kidding. Our head of PR, Rasan, is an Arizona guy, so of course I was texting him. So I did get my jabs in where I could. But then last night I'm sitting at my desk during the game, and he comes and walks by me, and he taps me on the shoulder, my ears, and I take him out. And he's just kind of not glaring at me, but looking at me like, really? I was like, what? He goes, then you go and lose to Arizona State. I was like, I know.
It makes it so much worse for him, too, because
I know.
Arizona.
Yeah, so anyways, that was a fun game, though. That game was wild. I could not believe it. That's
an insane ending.
It was crazy. It was so much fun. I was screaming. Everyone else was asleep. I was waking everyone up. I didn't care. It was so much fun. And yeah, that coach, we were coach of the year, man. I mean, and again, take out that Arizona State debacle, but he's done
Kyle
amazing
Smith
things.
is most definitely winning that award. And I told DeAndre Ayton that you were a Coug.
Oh, you did?
So if it felt like he was avoiding you, he 100% was like, oh, you're kidding me. He's like, I didn't know that. I'm like, and Rasan immediately, because you had already texted him, was like, yeah, no, stay away. Stay away. So.
I'm mean. I'm crazy. Yeah, watch out for me. I would just give a little, just little jabs now and then, because we don't get to say it very often.
Which is why you should victory lap it to death.
I regret it now. I regret it.
And this is, though, pretty awesome, because we were talking about this last week. If Washington State ends up winning Pac-12 men's basketball, Oregon State wins Pac-12 men's baseball, then all of a sudden you have the two teams that were left standing are the ones that can claim, at least on the men's side, the last two major sports. And they deserve that.
They do. I can't tell you. My Oregon State fans or friends that are obviously fans, we kind of we got even closer during this dark time where we were just the two girls not asked to dance, at the prom, and we're like, well, I'll still be cool with you. I'm still cool with you. I got your back. So Beavers and Cougs, we've always been kind of the same, in terms of, UW, Big Brother. Everyone says that, Oregon same, but like. We're similar already, and this was like something that really we're bonded for life.
Trauma bonding.
Yes, totally trauma bonding. But yeah, that was a great win, and I'm happy for them. It's just Pullman's such a special place, obviously to me for obvious reasons, but it's just you really bond with everyone there, and it's like us against the world, and you can only live in Pullman to really know what it's like to go to school there. It's truly a special place to me, and so I'm always rooting for them, whether. They're bottom of the pack or top, but it's kind of more fun to be at the top. Okay,
your experiences in Pullman. We had this conversation too, because I was like, no, Coug's got a Coug. Like they win or lose, they'll still booze. How hard was it? Not that you ever did this. How hard was it if you wanted to, sneak a flask into the arena for a basketball game? Because it's not like football. It's like where football you can just walk through anywhere.
I was going to say, are you asking football? Because that's not hard.
It's not hard at all. But we were talking about basketball because that environment, if you just pack in what Martin Stadium is on a Saturday
in a more enclosed area,
it doesn't matter if they're good or bad. It's such a fun place to go to a game. And then you bring that to basketball. Like, it's been so long since basketball has had this.
Right.
Like, could you even could you even imagine what
No,
it's like?
back then. I mean, we weren't very good when I was there, and then they weren't until the Bennett era, and that which was really fun. I still obviously was totally into that. Actually, when they made it to the Sweet 16 in Charlotte, which was unforeseen, my mom and I got online and got tickets and like last minute went to Charlotte and watched it. They lost, but it was still such a cool event, and just the fact that they were even there. So that era was really fun. With Kyle, with my Derek Lowe, like that group, Kyle Weaver, Derek Lowe, that just was a fun group, just because they were all underdogs, and that's kind of how I feel like this team is too. Yeah. You got guys from Walla Walla, I mean, and the coach, the whole story, like
a lot of hoopers from Walla Walla.
Yeah, well, that's true. That is true. They're all over the place. So many of them. It's a hotbed. But just the fact that they are all kind of guys that nobody wanted, and you get them under a great coach, and they're flourishing. I mean, I don't know how you don't root for that.
No, I do. It's really fun. I mean, in the style of basketball is really fun too. And
yes,
if you give the Cougs a reason, they're going to back them to the end.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's going to be the most fun part about this final stretch is that even with the loss to Arizona State, you're still controlling your own destiny.
True.
And it's going to be ridiculously hard to go to Pullman and try to win a basketball game. And that's going to be so much fun to see what that environment's like, because it was already kind of building to this point.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's just going to be boiling over. And that's every college fan, every fan base in the country. You wished for that to happen to your team, and they finally get it for the first time since World War II. 1941 was the last outright conference championship.
Wow. Well, I saw a video, which I love these videos where they show like reactions, like where at certain places, and someone put a camera up at the Coug, and I might have got a little teary-eyed. I was like watching and going, I know how they're feeling right now. I mean, I felt the same way, but like when you're there going to school, you're in it. I mean, how much fun. I would have loved to have had that success when I was actually there at any of the teams. We had a good year football-wise, but to have that sort of situation while you're actually in school and they're at the Coug and they're celebrating high fives, I mean, it was very sweet. I loved it all. It was wholesome to me, and I'm excited for them. So thank you for giving me a little time to talk about the Cougs.
Did you have like a little bite of Cougar Gold in celebration?
That doesn't last long in my house.
No.
It does not last long. We had 3. I always order a ton around Christmas time, and try to keep one for guests, or like if someone comes over,
special occasions,
and it does not. I'm looking at every time I open the fridge, I'm like staring at me.
I'm still trying to track down that Cougar Gold vending machine.
Yes.
I sent you the picture of that.
I know, that was
awesome.
awesome.
Did I show you that?
No.
There's one of those like super nice vending machines that has like all the security built into it, so you can't steal it.
You can't shake it.
Yeah, you can't shake it out. But it had a brick of Cougar Gold. It was like $45.
Yeah, that's a little uppriced, but the efficiency and how easy it is to get it
in a vending machine. Like,
yeah, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. You got to. The best is if you have someone that lives around there or is going through, you have them stop at the creamery. And I found this out by someone. I was just talking with someone about this. So there's a huge long line because people get ice cream from Ferdinand's. It's really great ice cream. Student-run creamery. At one point, it was the only college student-run creamery. I think there are more now, I've heard. But there's actually a special line if you're just getting Cougar Gold. That it's shorter, shockingly, but it's not the ice cream line. The ice cream line is always out the door. So if you have someone that is driving through Pullman, you can get them to stop. It's obviously the cheapest because you're getting it at the site, and I think it's gone up in price every year, and the
distribution costs are crazy,
and the cans are getting smaller. Don't think I haven't noticed, Wazoo. The cans are much smaller than they were 5 years ago. I'm not a dummy.
So I just had the Cosmic Crisp, the other
the apples,
the other new export from Washington.
Yes.
2 years ago.
Uh-huh.
It's number 1 on my Apple chart.
It's good. It's really good. It's funny how we're all talking about apples after that tweet of your list of apples. Never thought about it.
Well, no, that's the reason why it was. I saw Mina's tweet and I was like, I've never heard of that apple.
Oh,
and I
so good.
stumbled into Fred Meyer when I was like, I usually get the Honey Crisp. I gave it a shot and I'm like, all right, Cougs, you're doing basketball, football, cheese, and apples. All right. I like where we're going with here.
Things right.
Those 2 stories are the most Washington State stories I've ever heard, and it's why I love the Cougs. That's why the Cougs are my people right there.
And that's why Cougs are always going to booze.
Well, here's a story for you. When I was in school, so the beer of choice when I was there, I'm not sure if it's changed or if it's evolved, but it was Busch Light.
It is not. It has not changed or
so.
evolved.
Still,
It's like water.
It is. And cheap. So there was like a semi Busch Light semi truck on its way to Pullman, and it got into an accident and went off into the fields of the Palouse, and there were Busch Light cans all over the Palouse, and there were pictures of it. And people, from what I heard, people got in their cars and
flocking.
Yeah,
it was like the bank, the bank truck falls over and the cash goes everywhere.
Yes.
Except it was
Busch. Yeah, and so apparently that was a whole thing, and police got involved. I did not. I just said I'll just pay for mine. But it was like that is so Pullman. That is so Cougs.
I love that.
Even for cheap beer, they're going hunting
yes,
for it.
yes.
Are you gonna stay here with us and
Of course
come back?
I am, yes.
You actually have a big reason why you're here.
Yes, I
do. Brooks Charity, Brooke Hearts Your Heart. We will talk about that and how you can get involved and what exactly it is. Come up here on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan. Hour number 3 here on Danny and Dusty on a wonderful Monday afternoon. Thanks for being a part of the show, hanging out with us. It's a good day. It's a good day to hang out in the studio, joined by the wonderful Trailblazer sideline reporter, Brooke Olzendam. You can see her on youtube.com/1080 AM The Fan, along with us, or twitch.com/1080 AM The Fan. Brooke, it's that time of year. It's February. This is year 5. I was like 5, 6. I don't do good with years anymore. Post-COVID, I don't do years.
I understand.
It blends together. So this is year 5 now of Brooke Hearts Your Heart, and the floor is yours.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, first of all, thank you to, Danny's wearing my hat.
I am.
Thank you very much. And you guys are so great. You always have me on every February to talk about it, so I appreciate you so much. On top of just a long-standing friendship I've had with both of you. But it's nice to be able to come on and talk about it with people that, I know care about it. So, yeah, it's year 5. It's been a huge success. I cannot thank people enough for donating, just coming up and telling me their stories. It's incredible. This month is always overwhelming in a good way, though, because heart health is something that has affected everyone, whether it's yourself, someone you love, someone you know. It's just, you talk to everyone that at some point it will, affect your life. And so it's just more about being aware and just knowing that, it's a big deal, and you really need to listen to your body and pay attention to your loved ones and see if there's anything that, kind of is a bit of a red flag, and maybe, you need to go get checked out. It started with my husband, who passed away, who was a professional athlete, actually played football at Oregon for a year and then transferred to Occidental, where he finished his collegiate career and was hoping to get into the NFL, played arena football. That's when I met him. He was playing arena football in LA, well, and then Stockton. And so we met and we got engaged, we got married, and again, just epitome of great health. Big guy, strong, worked out every day because he was, chasing his dream of playing in the NFL. So just took care of himself, drank a ton of water, ate healthy, worked out, everything you're supposed to do. And after we got married, just a week and a half after, he was on the treadmill at the hotel we were staying at in Florida, where I was going to take a job. And he had a heart attack and passed away. And we found out later that he had a carotid artery, which meant that the blockage was so severe that they said it was something like he was giving like what a normal person would give. He only had 10% of his heart that could do that. And so I remember now, like, he was just so incredibly exhausted after a run, after any sort of cardio workout. And we always just kind of joked, he's like, I hate running. I was like, no one hates running more than you. But, as a professional athlete, it's something that he had to do. And now we know that he was just giving so much extra energy, and it was so hard on his body because he didn't have the blood flowing to his heart as a normal person would. So that's one of the things I talk about, is to listen to yourself. If you feel something is up, or if you have a friend or a family member that you're like, yeah, that doesn't make sense, that they exert energy, but they seem like they're just so tired after a workout. And a story I tell, which I will continue to tell, because it's just, right. This one is one of the reasons why I am doing this. Is it was just so fulfilling when I heard this. But a girl, a very good friend of mine, actually, who I went to college with, she called me after the first year, and Lamar and I did a sit down explaining the whole story, like essentially what I just said. And she said, I saw that interview, and I just, something clicked to me, like, I want to send to my sister. And her sister owns her own fitness studio, very great health, takes care of herself. But she'd noticed, she's like, I feel like my sister kind of is dealing with that, like, because I work out, she works out, but whenever we do something together, like, she just seems like she's a little more tired than she should be for someone who works out so much. So she sent it to her sister. Her sister watched it and said, you know what, I'm going to go get checked out. And she had an issue and had to give emergency heart surgery that next week.
Wow.
Yeah. So right there, I was like, whoa, blown away. So that there is worth doing all this. And I've heard other people say they've made some little life changes, to be more aware and maybe more healthy or healthier. And so that's just really kind of the goal of this, is to just think about it more. Because, we go about our day and we just don't, well, I'll be okay. I'm fine. Everything's fine. But these things happen. And if you can just get it checked, or get yourself checked, or someone that is close to you, even for peace of mind, if it comes back, you're fine. Okay, great. That's wonderful. But just be aware. And there's little things, like if you go to the website, trailblazers.com/heart, there's a ton of information. American Heart Association is so great. And they explain things where it's easy to digest. It's not like a ton of information. There's like bullet points, and you can check out how to do hands-only CPR, signs of a stroke, signs of a heart attack, little things just to be aware of. And so it's been amazing. The support is incredible. I say this often, but I knew I wanted to do something after Andy passed. For the first couple of years, you're just trying to survive. So you're not in a place where you can think about turning this into a positive. And with this organization and the people that I'm surrounded by in Portland and our amazing fans, I just felt like this is home. This is family. I feel like this is the place I want to do it. So I went to our wonderful folks at the Trailblazers, starting with Krista Stout, and kind of pitched this idea. Like, I don't know what to do. I have no idea. I don't know how to start. What do I even do? And she was so receptive. She's like, absolutely. Yes, let's do it. And this is, again, 5 years ago. And then we decided Annie Kay, who's my girl, she's like spearheaded this, and she's amazing. And she got in touch with the American Heart Association. We figured there's so much little stuff that even law stuff, like how do you get the proceeds, stuff I don't have any clue about.
Mm-hmm.
They took care of all that, and we've got the website going. We started doing swag 3 years ago.
Yep.
We started with the scarf, which was sold out quickly, and then we did the knit cap last year, and then we ordered more of these hats. So there are still some available. We didn't want to.
So if you're at the game tomorrow night against the Miami Heat,
yes,
stop by. They're at all of the clothing stores.
Yeah,
right?
I bought one of them out last night, and I even felt bad. There were two left. The one right next to where I do the pre and post game,
which is where I grabbed mine from.
There were two left, and I said, "Oh, I don't want to." I wanted to buy. I bought I probably bought 50 at this point, just because you know what I mean. So I went and I was like, I don't want to take the last two. What if someone walks up and the guy was super sweet? He's like, I'll just tell him to go to the next one. I was like, you sure? Okay. So I bought those two there. But and he said he was going to go and grab a few from the other one. So they should be at every single one. If they're not, ask and go to another one. They're not that far, But they should be at everyone. And you can also buy them online at ripcityclothing.com. So you can get those, which is wonderful. The proceeds go to American Heart Association. And also, I wanted to add that the reason I wanted to come on today specifically is one last push for tomorrow, the game against Miami. Mm-hmm. It's the game that if you buy tickets on the site, again, trailblazers.com/heart, you scroll down, it says buy tickets for February 27th. If you buy on that site, you can stay after the game, shoot free throws on the floor. As soon as I'm done with the post-game show, I'm going to talk to Kyle, our producer, and say we're going to keep this baby tight so I can get down and come down and hang out with you guys on the floor after the game. So
what a cool experience.
I know, fun, right? Just to be able to go out on the NBA floor, but especially the floor that you're a fan of that team, and be able to say I shot a free throw where Anthony shot a free throw tonight. That's fun. And so if your kids want to do it for your kids, do it for yourself, and it would be fun. I don't know if there's going to be 10 people or 100, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be people that all wanted to donate, so it's going to be good people. They're going to be nice people. So it'll be fun. But yeah, it's been great, and we've reached over $100,000 after last year. So that's just mind-blowing to me.
That's awesome.
It's so cool. And this year we're on track to do the same. We're up to over 16,000, and that is without the 5,000 that the Blazers match, which they will, because we reached 5,000, I think, on the 3rd.
So you're already over.
Already over. And then Jody Allen donated $10,000 again, like she did last year, which is
awesome.
So crazy. I gave her a hug last night, and I was right before I do my first quarter hit on camera, so I was like, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. And I held it together, but that was tough. But that's just very touching to me, and I appreciate the support so much. And then that's not even factoring in the proceeds from the hat and the game. So I don't have the final for you because it's not over yet, but we're doing great. And it just I can't. Every year I'm like, well, how are we gonna? We did so well last year. You know how what's the word, burnout? Like where people are like, well, I donated last year, I don't need to donate. So I assume that I get that, I understand that, but people keep showing up and they keep donating. So thank you to you all. I appreciate it more than you'll know.
Well, I think it's a testament to you and what you're doing here and being a part of the community. And then also it's the Rip City fan base.
Incredible.
This is what they do, is they support their own. They know how important this is. And I think that it's something that is front and center. And like you said, it affects everybody. Mm-hmm. I mean, in one way or another, it has affected every single person. And it also helps that your swag is getting better. Like when it started with the scarf, and then it like got better with a knit cap. Now this is like, are you on the design now?
I am. Well, we have an amazing design. Like I get options. I say what I think, but I can't do the design. So like I say, I think it should be simple. It should be this. I did decide on the hat. Like this year.
I like it.
We thought the scarf would be cool because the first year, because we really weren't sure, we hadn't done it before, but it's There's also, I see Timbers fans, they love that. They wear it to every
Absolutely.
single game.
Also,
every single match.
it's in February.
Yeah, it's cold.
Yeah.
And
you're always cold.
I'm cold right now. I wasn't going to say anything, but man, it's cold in here.
I'm telling you, we go through this all the time.
To be fair, it
the
is
man
66.
is a furnace.
It is
over
66
there.
in
It's
here,
freezing,
and I'm
in
wearing
here.
shorts.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's just a thing. It's so funny because my dad's here, so I'll tell a quick story. So when he visits, we have two little things that we go back and forth about. One is the heat. He would like it at 50 degrees in the house. I would like it at 80. Try to find a happy medium. It doesn't always go well. The other one is the outlet by the coffee maker. I like to plug my computer in there so I can watch my TV shows on my computer while I'm doing the dishes. He likes to have it in so he can make his coffee. So we're always just like, I unplug, I have to replug. It's just we've got it down to a science, really. But the other night, I was getting in bed and he's good. He has the guest room. He has the fan and the window open. So even if it's 80 or 60, like the thermostat, sorry. He's fine because he has got his little situation in his room. He's good.
Freezer.
His freezer is always freezing. So I get in bed. I'm like, dang, I'm actually kind of hot. Like, this is new. I was like, this is weird. So I actually got up. I went out and I turned it down to like 68 or 58, or it's low for me. I
68.
Probably. And I turned it down. And I was like, okay, I got to get some sleep. We have game tomorrow. Get back in bed, and I have an older house, so like when the heat comes on, it's like,
yeah,
and like, and then I get so excited. It's like my favorite noise. So I laid in bed. Normally it is, but I hear that go on. I was like, oh my gosh, I just turned this down. Like, I lay there for a while. I'm like, no, I'm too hot. Go out. I'm like, maybe it's on a weird setting. It keeps going up. So I turn it back down, get back in bed. This happened like 5 or 6 times. So I didn't get the best night's sleep. So I slept in longer than I normally would. And I finally get up and Dad's like, did you sleep? How'd you sleep? I go, I slept terribly. I don't know what was going on. Like, I had to keep coming out and turning the heat down because it was actually too hot. He goes, every time I got up to the bathroom, I'd go turn it up for you because I thought you were going to be cold. So he's turning it up. I'm turning it down, which is the opposite of what we normally do. And we did it all night long in between, like never saw each other. Anyways, now that we've figured that out, we won't do it again. He goes, how did we get on this? So the scarf.
Yes, perfect.
So the scarf, which was great. Again, I wish we would have had more. But that's why this year we've ordered more. So they're still in stock. Yes. And again, you can get them online. But yeah, thank you guys for if you bought one. It's so fun being on the concourse and watching people walk by and they're wearing it and I'm like, thank you so much. It's just a cool moment. And then if we're not on air, I try to talk to everyone I see that is wearing one.
She throws candy at you.
I'd have to, hearts, candy hearts. If you're allergic to peanuts, don't grab it because it is a Reese's. But I bought like so many I bought like 500.
We're saving your hearts, but we're killing you with peanut allergy.
There's a huge Blazer fan with a peanut allergy who's like reaching for it and then just going, oh no.
This is my heads up.
Just a giant swollen hand.
Wilford Brimley in the background going diabetes.
That is so funny. It was either that if you go on Amazon and put in candy hearts, you're either gonna get that ones for Valentine's Day or this was a special one. Yeah. So I went with the nicer one. But anyways, I will try to talk to you if I can. I always do. It's just if we're on air, I'm gonna give you a heart and a wave, but we obviously can't come down. But thank you to everyone that has bought one. It's so cool to see it.
Look, this is the play because you don't want to be throwing the sweethearts that have like I love you to fans. That opens up a whole other can of worms for you. So this is the way to go. I mean, somebody might die, but this is the way to go.
Well,
we're just fitting the herd.
That reminds me of a really funny story that you two will so appreciate. This was last year. So I have my noise canceling earphones in, by the way. I always want to say that whenever I can because sometimes people are like, I said hi to you the other game and you completely ignore me. I will never do that.
It's purposeful. I didn't like
I don't know. I promise. I did not hear you. There's a one point someone, because you know where my seat is down on the floor, and I'm right in the front, like there's a front row of fans right next to me. This one guy was talking to me, I guess, for like 2 whole minutes, and I had no idea. And I get a tap on my shoulder from Corey Lay, who's our assistant equipment manager, who's sitting right there, and he goes, I feel like I should tell you, this guy's been talking to you for 2 minutes and you don't even know. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. So I took my ear out and he was like congratulating me on getting Sportscaster of the Year and was telling me all these really nice things. And I was just like, I did not respond to one thing he said because I didn't know. I was like, I'm so sorry, sir. I did not know. He's like, oh, I was just thought maybe you weren't interested. I'm like, oh my gosh, how many times this has happened? I didn't know. But that's not the story I was going to tell. So I'm sitting up on the concourse.
He probably had 5 minutes of material that he was working through. Like, hey, this is the icebreaker. She's a really nice person. You are like one of your problems is that you will talk to anybody that will talk to you. And so he was probably like, I'm just striking out right now.
I felt so bad. But I was on the concourse, and I had to be a Friday or Saturday, and you'll understand why I say that. And I can't hear anything. So guys people will just walk by and, yell stuff. Usually it's just like, hey, go Blazers, they broke, whatever. And I wave, whatever. And this group of dudes walked by, and it was in between segments, and they were walking out. So the game was over. They had a few pops, and I didn't know this, but one guy yells something, and I just assumed like, hey, bye, woo. So I look at him and I go, oh, and I give him the heart, like I'm doing the heart with my hands right now, guys. And my stage managers all look at me like, what are you doing? I was like, what? They're like, you didn't hear what he said, did you? I was like, no. And he's like, well, let's just say he propositioned you and you gave him the go ahead. I was like, oh no. I had no idea. Apparently it was very vulgar, and he yelled, and I had no idea. And I responded with a heart, like, oh, heart. They will never.
That would only happen to you.
I know. I know.
That is the inverse of getting scared to death by mascots.
Yes, I know.
The rich and wholesome side, and then the not so wholesome side.
They're like, his friends are dying, going like, man, you're in. I was like, I don't know what's happening.
Smile and nod.
I did. That's my go-to, and apparently sometimes that'll get you into trouble. So yeah, that was a funny moment. And,
that guy went to the bars after that. Was like, she wants me.
She said yes.
She loves me.
He's living on that one for a while.
I know.
Well, we're debunking it right now, and he's just driving around going, no.
That wasn't real.
I have to go return this ring now.
Well, let me see the ring first. Let me see it.
Yeah.
So,
it's fair.
I love it. What's next with? So we were talking about the idea that just knowing and listening to your body, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not all that American Heart Association does with the funds that you guys raise. And I think this is one of the really cool things that you guys do is it helps the community as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And it's about, tobacco use. Vaping is a huge problem right now with teens and everyone, but especially like young people. It's and it's very dangerous. And I think people think it's a great alternative to smoking, but it's very dangerous. And we've seen a lot of issues across the country, the world, where people are dying from it. And it's just something that you can get easily addicted to. That's one thing. I didn't realize that the American Heart Association, how big of a wide net, how all the issues they tackle, health with families, like families that can't afford, to feed their kids.
Yeah.
And so they do so many things, making sure kids are eating, getting well-balanced meals. And so they cover so many bases. And so the community aspect is huge. And that's why I want to make sure everyone knows it's through American Heart Association, Southwest Washington and Oregon. So it stays in our community. And that's huge for me. So I just wanted to make that clear. It's for the people around us. And that goes back to if you're giving, and hopefully it's helping someone that you maybe is in your circle.
That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of the infinite, really cool parts about this. And I just can't thank you enough for coming and sharing your story with everybody too, because it means a ton to hear it from somebody who has been impacted by it, but truly cares about about our community too.
I do. And you mentioned, I wanted to add to this, the fan base, right? Like I talk about this with anyone who will listen, really, but our fan base is so unique. And I do think it has to do with, our area, locationally, but also the fact that our fans are so smart. They're educated about the game, about the players, and they're passionate. We know that, but it's not just about basketball. It's about the sense of community. Like on Twitter, you guys know, I'll meet, like last night. 2 days ago. This is an example. At Rip City United event, Lamar and I kind of hosted. I don't know. We were part of the festivities, and Brandon Goldner, who's a member of Blazers Twitter. He was there. I went up and gave him a big hug. He goes, "It's so nice to finally meet you." I was like, "We've never met?" He's like, "No, we've never actually face-to-face met." I feel like I know him, just because of our interactions on Twitter. It's just what all these people, and how passionate they are, and I can guess what someone's gonna say, you know what I mean? You feel you're on Twitter, I bet blah 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 is probably feeling this, and it's usually accurate, and it's just you know them, and they everyone roots for each other. It's a really truly a family, and I've worked for other teams. I've worked in different sports, and it's so special. It's so different. It's so, like I said, unique, and that's another reason why the support continues every year for Brooke Hearts to Your Heart, because I love these people. I know it sounds so corny, but it's it's one of the reasons I love my job, is because of the interactions with these people that care so much about the city, the community, the team, the players, everything. It's they live and breathe it, and I know what they do for jobs. I know, they're chef here. And everyone supports each other. Like I have ordered food from, especially during COVID. I mean, I tried to order food in from people that are Blazers fans, their restaurants, to support them, and then
you can say Palomar and
yes,
Dame
Palomar,
and,
yes,
and JoJo's.
I went to Dame. I've ordered JoJo's. Yes, I've done it all, and then when they come out, people have their fun shirts and Fruit Nation and all that stuff. Well, I'll be honest. Sometimes they just send it to me, which is very nice. But I would buy them.
I bought artwork from Abby.
I bought artwork. My dad. Your Christmas present was from. So I got him. Make sure I get it all. It wasn't from Abby, but I ordered. I got my son a Messi. She drew Messi on a soccer ball. It was beautiful, and it was the coolest Christmas present I've ever given him, and because Messi's his everything. And so she painted the most beautiful soccer. She got the soccer ball herself, and I mean I paid her for it obviously, but she did all the legwork, so it made it super easy for me. Did an amazing drawing, wrapped it herself, put a little note in, so cute. Delivered it to my door because we were out of town. That's another example. And then another guy, and I will post about this because I cannot remember his name right now, but he does really cool art where it's like kind of like I don't know what the word is, but he draws people, but it's what's the word I'm trying to think. Abstract. Thanks, Dad. Like abstract. And so I had asked my dad his 5 favorite athletes of all time. And was it 5? Yeah. And he drew them all in a living room.
Oh, cool.
And it was, help me out. It was Ken Griffey Jr., Dame, Pete Maravich, Larry Bird. And who's the 5th one? Michael Jordan. Yeah, Michael Jordan. And they were all sitting on a living room couch, just like kind of just chilling. It was It's so cool.
That's awesome.
It's hanging in his. So yes. So
it's a big community that has a lot of interests run the board. It's been a bit of a dysfunctional family recently, but even with that,
but you're still a family.
Exactly. But they always rally around stuff.
Yes.
They always rally around causes, and look, you've got like probably 100% approval rating in the community, so they're always going to rally behind you and what you do, and it's awesome. And if you guys are listening out there, it's on my Twitter account, it's on the 1080 Twitter account, it's on Jack Ramsey's Twitter account, it's on the Danny and Dusty Twitter account for the link to the charity, and I'm also putting the link to the NBA.com/Blazers/heart or Trailblazers.com/heart to if you want to get tickets to tomorrow night's game to against the Miami Heat, which there's nothing to draw from in that game coming up at all. And if you have the opportunity after the game to hop on the court, take some free throws on the court, which is, and then the best part about it is you get to go scare Brooke.
Okay, we do need to talk. We need to talk about that.
Okay,
and then we also, I want some art of the broadcast kind of. What you, Lamar, and Casey have is really cool. And I want to talk to you about that. So
I would love to.
Whether you have to leave or not, you're staying.
No, I am here till 3 if you'll have me.
Let's go. Yeah. Let's go.
I thought you and I were hanging out after this. Aren't we all
going
to go paint the town? Just kidding.
I'm in.
Yes.
I'm in. I'm in.
I'm down. All right, so that's how it's going to go. We've got Brooke Olzendam, Trailblazers sideline reporter in studio, coming up here next on Danny and Dusty tonight. The Fan. Well, the boss is going to kill us because we're completely off the clock, but it's okay. That's how we're going to do it.
I feel like every time I'm on your show, this happens. So I'll take the blame.
This one's going to be a short. We got to keep this one short so we can kind of get back on the clock.
Yeah, because basically we should have broken like 3 minutes ago.
Yeah, that's how this is going to go.
Cram it in your cram hole there, Rust, over there, all right?
do you want to get the greater secrets of broadcasting here, or are we going to?
No, I've got a question about your getting scared.
Okay.
People don't believe that you get scared that easily.
It's so true. It's accurate.
It is it's 100% true.
It's 100% true. The number of times that I've come up to you over the last 3 years, not from behind, hell, even if I'm directly in your eyesight, Brooke, it's
You know what? I will blame the person in this room for starting it. Probably when I was in high school, my bathroom was across from my room in the hallway on the way to the garage, and my dad was a teacher.
Her dad is in here, by the way. It's in Danny or I that she's talking about.
Oh, sorry,
scaring her in high school.
Well, you guys have no. He didn't scare me in my bathroom in high school. Let me make that clear. But
that kind of connects the whole serial killer thing a little too much.
So I would be getting ready for school.
Early start.
Sorry, but yeah, I should be more. I forget people can't see everything we're doing.
They
in here.
can. They just can't see him. He actually is in the perfect spot to avoid all the cameras.
And he's actually really melting into the couch. He's wearing the Tomania sweatshirt I got him.
There you go.
And the couch is also the same color. So
solid mustard yellow.
That's hilarious. So he'd go to work and he's walking by and my door would be closed because I'd be like blow drying my hair or whatever. And I don't know why, because he did it every morning. He just hit the door as hard as he could on his way to the car, and I would fall to the ground. Fall to the ground. Like I wasn't even in worse situations like you, Danny. But I feel like though I have PTSD or something. I fall to the ground like to avoid. I don't know why, but I would fall to the ground. And go, Dad! And every morning he did it. So I think that maybe that's where it started. But
maybe.
Yes, it's just
very scarring moment. Or moments.
And so I think maybe I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out why, because then someone said this once, like if you are easily startled, it means like that's not a good thing. That means like you're always on edge or you're worried all the time. I'm like, well, I'm really not a worry. I mean, I don't feel that way. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It's just a quirk of mine. I am easily scared, even though I'm around so many people all the time. You would think that nothing would scare me because like I'm literally
being around 20,000 people.
You'd think that would make,
time.
Yeah.
Well, when you're wearing noise canceling headphones, you don't hear any of them.
That comes into play. So yes, for anyone questioning it, I understand. I'm telling you, I can't. I'm a terrible actress. I took acting in college 1 year, and I was so bad. I mean, not even a year, a semester. You know, it was terrible. I was like, this is the worst experience. I'm awful. So I can't act. I cannot act. I mean, I can talk. You know, like do my job broadcasting, but I can't pretend. So it's very true. Whatever you see, it's happening in real time, and I promise you, I'm not acting. It's because I can't act.
Which is where the mascots come in handy.
The mascots, you do get scared at just loud noises. But in defense of your dad, there is, when you have a daughter, you be loud, and anytime you have a teenager, that's the thing. You got to be loud in the house.
Let them know you're there.
Yeah, personal space is important.
That's true. Okay.
And then scaring the S out of them is just a bonus.
It's also very important.
Well, Dusty, maybe you were going to get to this, but back in our Pulse days, there was a whole thing where that was like the goal. Like you guys had plans and put people under tables, and they had like they and Jeff Rush,
which isn't necessary.
One of our producers, Fletcher.
Oh, Fletcher.
Oh God.
He hid under a desk for over an hour.
Oh my God.
Like Brooke kept getting distracted.
I didn't play the role I was supposed to.
And he committed to the bit.
Love it.
And she just came in, plopped right down, and then Fletcher just goes, boo. And
She's on the ceiling.
Never seen a person jump.
Yeah.
And he said it like that, just boo.
It's when you know the assignment.
There was a rolling chair, went back into the wall. Brooke just jumped up.
I'm so mad at him. He would do that all the time. Just when I would walk in, and again, you'd think I would be expecting these things because like it was his favorite thing to do. I'd just turn the corner and he'd jump out. And
I'm assuming this was in the broom closet studio.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So there were a ton of places to hide.
For those that are unaware, this is like a 7x7 room. There's not a whole lot of places to hide.
No, it was very small, and he would figure out a way. He was really dedicated to that. And you guys and Jeff Russ, like I said, you were not innocent in this. You're a part of these.
Yeah,
things.
you're complicit.
Yeah.
Yep.
You just
Yep. I think we got a couple of them on tape.
Yes, you did. I think there was a montage at one point.
Yeah, I think you're right.
If for nothing else, the NBC was always good for a good montage that we could never actually show.
We had fun though.
Somehow we're still friends.
I take it as a loving gesture when someone takes the time to put in the effort for something like that. But yeah, it was sad this year because Rumble the Bison called a truce. If you saw that, I know.
Yeah.
He gave me a little
okay.
stuffed animal of himself and asked me to sign it. We signed it. He agrees to not scare me anymore. And then we went back and he didn't do it. So it's kind of end of an era.
Sounds like I need to pay off Douglas fur.
So
Douglas fur just gives me all the hearts.
he scared you and then gave you nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the stuffed animal form.
That's
Just
very
something
true.
to remember.
Just
by,
in case.
I gave it to Theo because he likes Chet Holmgren. So I said, I got this for you. And I was like, okay, I'm lying. It was given to me. I can't lie to my kid. I was like, it was a gift. Sorry, I didn't buy it for you.
I had to
but-
walk it back already.
Bad actress.
Bad actress. Terrible actress.
You'll figure out how to lie to your kid.
Eventually, it'll come. All right, coming up next, more with Brooke Olzendam. But first, here's the Big Kahuna with the Sports Center update.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Crunch Fitness. Memberships as low as $9.99 per month. Find your Crunch time in Portland, Vancouver, and online at crunch.com. First on the Fan, it got cold in Portland last night, but nowhere more so than Moda Center as the Blazers fell to the Hornets in the lowest scoring game of this NBA season. They wrap up their 7-game homestand tomorrow night against the Heat. Blazers 15-41, the fifth worst record in the league, but now tied with the Hornets in the win column. In the NFL, the Bengals placed the franchise tag on wide receiver T. Higgins, meaning should the two sides not come to a long-term agreement before July 15th, Higgins will play on a one-year, $21.816 million deal. And 2023 WNBA MVP Breanna Stewart has agreed to terms on a one-year, non-guaranteed below-maximum deal to return to the New York Liberty. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The Fan is live on YouTube and Twitch. And now, Window Nation brings you on-demand videos. Watch Window Nation's window into 1080 The Fan.
2:40 on a Monday afternoon, and we are joined by Trailblazer sideline reporter and all-around wonderful human being, Brooke Olzendam, here in studio talking about Brooke Hearts Your Heart, her charity benefiting the American Heart Association. Whether you go to 1080 The Fans Twitter account, my Twitter account, the Danny and Dusty Twitter account, the Dirt and Spag Twitter account, they've all retweeted all the information for the charity, as well as if you go to the link, trailblazers.com/heart, you can buy tickets for tomorrow night's game against the Miami Heat, where you, after the game, you can get down the floor, take some free throws, and take a picture with Brooke Olzendam and scare the living crap out of it.
Look, Danny's mentions need your support there tomorrow because Miami's fan base hates Danny Murray.
I don't pull for wins and losses, and Brooke knows this. I'm always very ambivalent about the wins and losses, particularly this year. Daddy needs a win tomorrow. Daddy needs a win tomorrow, okay? Look, I wrote a lot of checks this summer, and they're going to bounce if things go sideways.
Do this for Danny. Should we do like a campaign? Do it for Danny.
Please do it. Like, can we get a Milwaukee-like effort? Because otherwise, I'm just going to have to turn it off for a day or two. It's gonna be bad.
Danny's writing handwritten notes to all the Blazer players, like, please, I need this. I've had your back throughout all of this.
If you do one thing for me, dude, this is the
one. 2, I need you tonight. I need you to lock down Jimmy.
Oh, how funny.
One thing that I love in watching games and in watching seasons that, look, it is a rebuilding process. You trade one of the best players, if not the best player in franchise history, and the rebuild starts. There was no false hopes or intentions of what this team in this season would be. It's a rebuild from the bottom up. But one thing that I love is that when you turn on the Blazer games, you, Lamar, and Kevin, it seems like you guys are having a blast.
I love them so much.
When you guys are working, and it makes it, even when games go sideways, and last night was one of those games where things kind of went sideways. It's fun to watch how you guys can keep the broadcast entertaining.
Thank you.
It's how hard does it get though at times where
this is where you make your bones.
Yeah,
when you're winning 73 games like the Warriors, it doesn't matter what you're doing on the broadcast.
Right.
But now it matters.
And how much do the Worldwide WOB rankings matter to you? Because he has the Blazers as at a 9 on his broadcast rankings.
That was very kind. A couple people sent that to me. I appreciate that. And thank you. And I give so much credit to Kevin and Lamar because, I mean, I pop in and, obviously I host the pregame show with Michael, and that can be difficult, at halftime when you're down a certain amount. And then after, like last night was, you try to find the silver lining, and then it ends up just Michael and I just kind of goofing, and just having fun. And that's what you do. Like you want to, educate, but you also want to entertain. That's the goal, right, for broadcasting. And so there are times when it's more so about entertaining, and Michael, I mean, Michael is to me one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life, and I could just go, I could talk with him about anything, and he will make me laugh, and so he's great in that way. But Kevin and Lamar, that's those two roles are when you're down a certain amount and things aren't going great.
Injuries are piling
up.
Kevin's one of his best lines, ad lib, was the road trip from hell against the Knicks. Third quarter, it's not going well. He just drops. I don't think he had the ad read yet. He just goes, Bill Burr, February 22nd, out of nowhere. Oh. And then it's like the producer's like, well, throw the lower third on. Like
that totally.
But I mean, because things were going so sideways, it was like, but that. I couldn't stop laughing because I knew what he was doing was like.
He's a genius.
I'm not going to talk about what's happening right now.
Well, so I think it was last year. Was it last year or the year before? It was a tough stretch, and we made the Dua Lipa read a whole thing because Kevin would come on and go, coming up on Friday the 17th, Dua Lipa, and he had no idea who to
the golden shopping cart.
He invented the golden shopping cart, and so he's so smart and so funny and so witty and so quick. And so then we became a whole thing. Like I'd be like, so Kevin, what's your favorite Dua Lipa song? He's like, that one about love, and just we would talk about Dua Lipa every time there was a read. We had a full segment about Dua Lipa. And then one of my favorite things Kevin's ever said, and I have so many favorites. Back when we used to do Alaska, where you at? Where are you watching? It was a family in Roslyn, or someone in Roslyn, Washington, where what was the show that was taped in Roslyn, Washington?
I'm going to be no help here.
You know what I'm talking about? It was a sitcom from Northern Lights or North or no, it was something like that. Northern Exposure.
Northern Exposure.
Okay.
Yes.
I was like, that takes place in Alaska, but it was
But
filmed
it was
in Washington?
filmed in Roslyn, Washington.
Okay.
But anyways, so the person for that, the picture was in Roslyn, Washington, and in front of this this wall that was very famous from the show. And so Kevin's going, and this is in the heat or in the midst of our Dua Lipa hilarious bits that we were doing. I thought they were hilarious, maybe, I don't know. And so he goes, "Here we are. Where are you watching? We're in Roslyn, Washington, hometown of Dua Lipa's grandmother." Dua Lipa's from the UK. Yeah. And so he just would start just saying stuff. And I just remember I was crying, laughing so hard. Because at that point, you're just trying to make people laugh. You know, you're just trying to. Yeah. And so we did that. I remember last year, towards the end, it was like one of the last games. And it was like fourth quarter. And I just remember, I remember hearing in my ear from our producer, he goes, "Kevin just wants to come to you." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And so my mic's open. He goes, "Brooke, what are you doing, Coeur d'Alene? What's your favorite thing to do? Where's your favorite hot?" I'm like, this is like action. Like, I mean, I think the score was not great. And so I was like, "Oh, well, you know what? We go to a place. It's called One Shot Charlie's. It's been there forever. You know, no shoes, no shirt, all the service." He's like, "That sounds like a black." We literally talked about like what I do at the cabin in the summer, and it was great. And you know, people
unscripted riffs
completely
that
unscripted.
Completely take care of it.
So they are just so talented. And Lamar, it does such a great job of explaining what's going on. And like, if you are a basketball aficionado, you obviously understand what he's saying. And if you're someone who just checks in every once in a while, you can still understand what he's saying.
And that's the brilliance in what Lamar does.
Totally.
Is he's able to boil things down in a very simplistic and short, concise manner, which I'm violently jealous of because I've never been able to do that.
And he's nice. And he's wonderful, and so is his wife, and there's just nothing wrong with Lamar. He's great.
I always say that Lamar is the guy who actually has the bodies buried in the backyard because he's too nice to be real.
He might. Maybe this comes to light. We always knew.
Everybody assumes it's Dan.
Yeah, everybody assumes it's me because I'm the a-hole, but no, it's Lamar. He's not real.
Distract and project.
Exactly.
Yeah, but Kevin too. I mean, I will just tell you. It's not even a story. It's just kind of how I felt. But I grew up listening to Kevin Calabro, and I'll never forget my first live sideline college football. Happened to be Washington State, which was amazing. It was out in Pullman. It was against Idaho, and I was so excited because it was my first college game that I got to do. I did some basketball, but it was in my hometown, and not my hometown, but where I went to college. So it was so like my family was there. It was crazy. I was like, I can't believe this is real life. And when I get the email on who I'm going to be doing the game with, I couldn't believe it. I opened. I was like, no way. Kevin Calabro and Brock Huard. And I was like, I'm going to be, my first college football game was with the Kevin Calabro. And it's so funny to fast forward now, he's family. And I still feel that way, going in, like, I cannot believe that I'm still,
that's awesome.
It's awesome.
That's really cool.
And he's just everything he is on air. I mean, that's why we work so well, is because it's us. If us three were sitting and having lunch, it's the same people. I mean, you're going to get that on air because no one's trying to be something they're not. It's just Kevin is Kevin, Lamar is Lamar, and sorry, Brooke is Brooke.
I hope somebody out there, somebody's like, Dua Lipa will be on like the Grammys, and they're like, her grandma's from Rockland. there will be somebody who's like, I heard.
Yeah. A lot of people, maybe you don't know this, but fun fact.
Kevin Calabro.
Little did you know. My boss is going to kill me if we don't make a break right now. So,
or your producer.
Yeah, I know. He's like, break. All right, we'll put a tight little bow on today's show, and we'll hand you off to Isaac Zook coming up here next on Dan and Dusty, 1080 The Fan. Also, a big thank you to Brooke Oldendam for joining us today. Again, you can find her charity at trailblazers.com/heart. Like I said, you can go to any of these show accounts. They've all retweeted it as well. If you want to hop on the floor tomorrow night against the Miami Heat, you can go to the links that are all posted across at Danny Meringue, at Danny and Dusty, at Jack Ramsey's, at 1080 AM The Fan, across all of these socials here today.
It's really cool. Yeah. I hope we fill up Moda Center because of it.
I do too. No, I've just since I've been here, I've just checked my Twitter in the last break, and a bunch of people have set are kind of rallying people to do it. So that means so much to me. That'll be really cool to see everybody, face to face, and just kind of have a little bit. Like I said, I think I tie a little bow on it on the month it's ending, and it'll be a nice way to kind of wrap it up and get to see everyone and thank them face to face.
Brooke, heart your heart. Go to trailblazers.com/heart. And thank you for hanging out with us.
Yeah,
too.
It's been a blast. So fun.
We need to carve out more time. You don't have a lot of time. You are very busy.
Well, I mean, during the season, it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does your off season look like?
Ugh. Chilling at One Shot Charlie's.
One Shot Charlie's. I'm in Coeur d'Alene.
A lot of Pickles games.
Yeah,
One Shot Charlie's.
Games.
No,
I try to go to. I really do love Pickles games.
No, they're a blast.
And Hops games. It's so fun. It's so funny to go from professional like the NBA where it's security is tight. It's a well run
to
just go into these things. It's just like
the Wild West.
The Wild West, and they can and the